This is the Whiskey and Chokes podcast with Jack and Pack. Chris is here to fuck shit up. Longtime viewer, first time attendee.
Okay, so this is the Whiskey and Chokes podcast number 28 here with Mr. Chris. I have a feeling we're going to talk a little bit tonight about life on the high seas.
Living in the Compton of Idaho, what it was like growing up in the Compton of Idaho.
Being a computer guy of sorts.
All the good things.
Yep.
Yeah.
More.
So let's see, what are we drinking?
Yeah,
sorry.
First off, you're on the same wavelength. We got to deal with the red breast. We're drinking red breast 12-year-old single pot.
We are.
It's like a $50 bottle of whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Chris starts off. What do you think?
I think it finishes clean. It's nice. I wouldn't call it a $50 bottle, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, you could do worse.
It's basically like only slightly better than your regular $20 bottle of Bushmills.
I was thinking Bushmills as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a really nice Bushmills, or it's the flavor is not really like Jameson, right?
No,
it's more like Bushmills, like a nicer Black Bush almost, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Clean.
I was trying to get some Middleton, but liquor stores don't sell it around here. I don't know. Some
Cottonwood Heights.
Cottonwood Heights might have one, so maybe we'll grab one there.
This is actually, though, I think this is a great podcast whiskey. I could definitely drink this stuff all night long.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I've only had maybe an ounce, and I can tell I just want to drink more of it.
Yeah, the taste will not wear on you.
Yeah, pretty solid red breast. Could work.
Good burn.
Mm-hmm.
It's good burn. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
Bernie.
Yeah, it tastes. It definitely has that hot taste.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel it afterwards, but that's to be expected from this genre of whiskey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got something really weird we're gonna drink right now. So I'm gonna let the people watching see what it is. I'm gonna show them what it is visually. So if you guys could look away so you guys don't see what it is, because I'm gonna have these guys guess what it is.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you guys at home.
Why don't we have Chris talk about his background in the combat sports and how he got into it while you're doing that?
Yeah. So cover your eyes so you guys don't see, because I'm gonna show you at home what it is.
All right.
So just close your eyes. Both of you close your eyes.
All right.
Eyes closed?
Yep.
Chris, give us a brief rundown of your combat sports.
Okay. I hail from a town called Parma, Idaho. And in the 90s, they were the small town Idaho powerhouse. I believe we had 9 state championships in wrestling in the 10 years in the 90s. I may be wrong, but I'm close. Opted not to do a lot of the wrestling, but to live there, you pretty much had to own it. So I knew grappling from a long time.
Okay, you guys open your eyes. Open your eyes. Yeah.
This is Jack's magic.
Don't drink yet.
That he's dosed.
Okay, so continue talking about this, and then we'll drink it after. We'll taste this afterwards.
Enter the Coast Guard.
But you had to do a lot of scrapping.
Oh, yeah.
When you were going up.
Yeah.
So we got to cover that. So you're doing a lot of scrapping, and not like dudes who grew up in metropolitan cities where they get into shoving matches. We're talking full on fist fights.
It was always on. It was always on.
Yeah. Small town shit.
Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Not yet.
I didn't.
Okay, one of us is gonna start sipping this stuff. So
okay.
let's all sip this, and then we'll get into the stories.
Okay, all right.
Because we're gonna dispose of this pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah,
So
right.
cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Go.
This just tastes like some tea.
Okay.
Regular.
It's like
Tastes like detox tea.
it actually tastes like Earl Grey mixed with mint.
Yogi
You guys
detox.
will not believe how far off you are. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a hint.
Is it filled with hobo souls?
Pretty close. I'm gonna give you a hint. The first hint is part of the name of this, and it's the number 100. So just think about that for a second. Any off the cuff guesses right now, and then I'll give you another hint that's gonna bring it home.
The number 100.
I'll give you 2 hints in one, actually.
No idea.
So, or I'll break them up. So the next thing is, this is not made out of a plant. It's made out of a creature.
Oh, is that? No, it's not the. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, here's the next hint. So the name of this creature in Southeast Asia is 100 foot.
Oh, nice! It's freaking centipede.
This is made out of centipede
souls.
You guys are drinking centipede tea right now.
Right on.
It's medicinal. Not too bad, right?
So is it the same centipedes?
Was each one of those a little tiny centipede?
No, in Hawaii, they had the black ones.
They were little balls.
Yeah, it was made out of these little balls that look like they could have been anything. They were like gold colored.
They look.
That's
like,
a manufacturing.
I'm thinking they're a bunch of baby.
I hope so.
Potato bug, or what do we call them?
Centipedes.
No, potato bugs. They're called potato bugs.
Yeah,
roly-polies.
Roly-polies. Mm-hmm. Remember the roly-polies?
Okay.
There are a bunch of baby ones of those that are rolled up and dried.
Dude, these are full on centipedes.
Okay.
Do you guys want to see the package?
Yeah.
Let me show you the package, like just so you guys know what we're dealing with here.
I've seen those. Okay, no, they're this big.
They got General Mao and some centipedes on the package,
which is one of my nicknames, by the way.
The son from the Addams family has opened up a centipede tea factory in Thailand, and he's made this concoction.
Okay, so in Hawaii they have them everywhere.
Oh,
they're big, they're mean.
Centipedes we're talking about.
Yeah, big black centipedes.
They're black. They're black, not the red ones.
No,
because we have like the reddish, orangish ones out here. Yeah.
The black ones are this big. They're in trees everywhere, and everybody that I was on the Coast Guard with that actually lived in married housing.
Yeah.
When they mowed their lawns, at some point, one would follow the tree, bite them on the back or the neck or the arm, and it's tantamount to probably 10 to 25% brown recluse bite.
So these fuckers are jumping out of trees onto dudes'
They're
backs
aggressive.
and fighting them?
They have no flight.
Okay.
It's all fight.
Oh, my God.
All right. So you're scrapping in Parma, Idaho.
Yeah.
The Compton Watts of Idaho.
Yeah. Parma's not as bad as its larger, Parma's kind of a moon when it comes to the center of an area called Napa and Caldwell.
Yeah.
And that is, there's a lot of gangbangers.
Napa. I've heard that.
So there's been a fair amount of scraps, but
so you get out of high school and you're like gonna join the Coast Guard. Not
quickly. Okay.
You
moved
hung
to
out.
Montana.
Oh, you moved to Montana?
Moved to Montana right out of high school. Wanted to go to the University of Montana. Moved up on, because I'm going to sound like an entitled son of a bitch here, by the way. Okay, so I moved up to the family ranch up in Montana, pretty close to Missoula. I didn't like it because I was 20 and I just couldn't really get the vibe going. This is in 93 where everybody was all grunged out and everybody was trying. This is like basically the first, this is hipstery, but not.
So you knew a gal who Nirvana used to crash at her place.
Yes.
At Boise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And what did she say about Nirvana when they would come crash at her place? They were playing.
They're a bunch of rude assholes that shot up in her bathroom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that explains that.
Yeah. She wasn't. She didn't care. They were at their peak.
Yeah.
And I just remember this is the same time that shortly after Marilyn Manson was kind of doing the same thing. So Montana for a little bit, kind of didn't really make it very long there. Went back down to Idaho, and then I started working for a place my dad used to co-own called Riverside Electric, which is they rebuild hydroelectric dams and anything smaller, like electric motors. They do really heavy-duty stuff. They're known nationally.
So they're like actually rebuilding the motors in hydroelectric dams.
Yeah. Well, it's a turbine. It's a generator instead of a motor, but it's just turned the opposite direction to create power.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So
very cool.
So you guys were like highfalutin, high society hillbillies in Idaho. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we were there. There were some people above us. The onion sheds, the potato sheds, and the 1,000-acre farmers had us. But we did okay.
You guys were working on the dams.
Yeah, nobody bought me. I didn't get a car or anything. You know, but who cared? My dad had a monster truck. My mom had a Camaro.
Oh
yeah.
Like
was your mom
county royalty?
Oh yeah.
Your mom was
royalty,
like, when she was riding around her Camaro, was she just like the shit around
T-tops down.
She had T-tops. Oh my god.
Bumping Billy Ocean.
Oh
yeah.
Good lord.
Oh yeah.
Good lord. Running shit.
Mm-hmm.
Karma.
So you're like down there, just like working for your old man, just like whatever.
And then I realized one of the big catalysts to me not wanting to work there anymore is they basically said when I turned 21. I was gonna have to get my CDL and start driving truck for them. No.
Yeah, like your future with the family company is drive truck.
Well, it was one of that
was part of your future.
I'm assuming
it
was
part of the future.
I'm assuming it was step 2, piss boy, truck driver, and then the whole grooming process and everything around there. I mean, not saying that OSHA isn't everywhere all the time, but there was really no safety. Okay, like there was a good point to that. If anything squished you, I don't care if you were wearing a human-sized hard hat, you were dead. There's, I mean, tons and tons hanging over. It was super dangerous. I didn't really dig it. Blah blah blah. I actually was relegated to the water well drilling area, where it was just me and a guy, and I drove the drill pipe trailer on just behind a regular truck, and he drove this big crane carrier with the drill rig on the back, and we just poked holes in the ground and drilled water. Okay. I was just getting fed up, and so was my family. So I said, you know what? You know, what big blow up on the other side of the family. My mom had remarried, and I just said, "Oh, you want me to do something with my life?" I was like, "Coast Guard."
Why the Coast Guard and not like any of the other armed services?
Let me just point out though, you were doing the most phallic activity ever. You were penetrating the earth, dude.
Yeah.
You guys were just around there punching holes in the earth, just like giving it to the earth.
8-inch. Oh, even worse. 8-inch hole, and then there's an 8-inch casing over the drill pipe, and then you set it on the hole. Once you punch 20 more feet,
you bite it,
and then there's a big weight, and you lift it up, and you just smack it down. You just keep on just beating it into the ground.
Buy a few drinks, give it a few thrusts,
no drink buying.
A little grinding,
beating up the earth.
We're going to drill you.
It up.
We're going to pound you. Then we're going to weld your brother right on top of it. We're going to drill you. Yeah. Just keep on.
Other thing.
Get that sweet water.
Your friend.
Sweet.
This next guy.
Whoa,
we're going to weld this next guy.
Okay. sweet nectar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I did that. Yeah.
So why the Coast Guard?
Okay. So because my area is not really known for, actually, my high school's graduated some pretty high level academics.
Okay.
But for every feast, there's a famine. Okay. So there's also a lot of people that really either don't want to go to college, have decided that they don't want to stay with the family farm or the family business, but they want to do something else. There's a lot of military people that really.
Okay. So some typical small town type of stuff. Yeah.
A lot of my friends, a lot of my family members had been in all the branches and done all the things.
Okay.
And nobody had ever came out of it saying, "Hey, that was awesome."
Oh.
Ever. Like never. So that kind of went, no. The Air Force was an option, but even in the early 90s, the idea was you're not going to get promoted. You're not going to be able to shine as an individual. You can be a rocket scientist, but if you don't have a degree and you don't have the right, timing, you're going to just sit there and wallow.
I think you mean a rocket surgeon.
Rocket surgeon. Rocket surgeon, brain scientist. I mess it up all the time. So just on the whim, I basically tried to call around, and this is, pre-internet. Nothing that I could find. I couldn't even tell you how the hell I even found this phone number. No Idaho Coast Guard recruiters existed at that time.
Not in the entire state.
Nope. What happened is,
damn. Okay.
Well, okay. What I found out years later, is the Coast Guard had basically gotten too fat, and they did this force reduction deal in the late 80s, early 90s, and efficiency has never been the government's strong suit, but when you start talking about, lack of databases, lack of communication, lack of whatever, it gets worse. They overran their mark by a freaking massive amount.
So they were like way overmanned.
Yeah, overmanned. But then they started offering early retirement, started offering this and that. And I got in right when they started passing.
They reduced too much.
Yeah.
They overcorrected, oversteered. Too few guys in the Coast Guard.
But the Boise office is still closed. So I got a Spokane, Washington phone number. So I called up and said, "Hey, I want to join the Coast Guard." His answer, one word: "So." I was like, "All right, assholes, you got something that nobody realizes is awesome. Fuck you guys." I'm like, "All right, hook it up. What are your ASVAB scores?" I'm like, "Well, in high school I generally aced them." And he's like, "Oh, never mind, man. Get up here. Plane ticket in the mail." Big family blew up at that point. So I told them I was going to join the Coast Guard.
They're like, "Chris, whatever. Why do you want to go and be a sailor?"
No, they started a few people.
Your mom's got a Camaro.
Yeah, goddamn, man, you got it right.
Goddamn, Chris, why do you want to go on the sea? You're going to drown. You don't even know how to swim.
We got a truck with your name on it. Yeah. So a person that will remain unnamed called bullshit. Like he's like, you're not whatever. This is all smoke screen, just like to get keep you.
You thought this was all like guys?
Yeah.
You thought you were just like you're fabricating all this Coast Guard bullshit.
Yep.
Awesome.
So back in the day when people didn't realize FedEx was the best way to go, it took a while for the stuff to show up in the mail, and I'm just like, right there, motherfucker. And so, okay, I got that.
Excellent.
Took my plane trip. And because I taken the ASVAB, everybody takes it junior year, senior year. I actually had delayed entry to the Navy Nuclear Engineering Program when I was 17. And some of the best advice ever was, hey, some people are fully, realized, adult human beings at 17 and 18. But if you really don't think that you're properly, in your right headspace, don't let the military raise you. That was one of the best advices I ever got. And so...
I know some guys who would agree with that.
Yeah.
Were raised by the military.
Yep.
In fact, one of them mentioned this just the other day.
Yeah. Do not let the military raise you. Do not. I mean, the fact that, well, the thing is the only hindsight I have is the fact that I knew that the military probably wouldn't have raised me, but it was still, had a little modicum of fear going on there. Okay. So I basically was ready to go. I went to raise my hand because in between your junior and senior high school, you can delay entry, do all your stuff. And then you have to go back in and redo the process. And then I got that advice, and I went in and said no. I had a commander rip me up and down.
This was on the nuclear engineering Navy program. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that all happened. I already kind of knew what was going on. Coast Guard, boom, Spokane, took the ASVAB. I got like an 86 or something. I was pissed.
Tell people what it's called ASVAB. Is that
right?
ASVAB?
It's the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So Boise actually has a huge called a MEPS Military Entrance and Processing Center. They actually do that for every branch besides the Coast Guard at that time. So I'd already went through the whole thing for the Navy there. So I went to Spokane, took the test. I'm all bitching. And the guy's like, you passed everything. Don't worry about it. I'm like, yeah, but
awesome.
3 years, I freaking screwed up like 14%. He's like, get over yourself, dude. You got it all.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And so
awesome.
What happened was I was there with like 4 or 5 guys. They got treated like cordwood, and they were like, yeah, everything changed. Apparently, not a lot of rocket surgeons rocking in there. People crying. It was bad.
What year was this?
1995.
Okay.
So
nice.
So I took my plane trip. I came back, and then the naysayers fell in line.
What?
Yeah.
You've been to Spokane?
Yeah. Now
the Camaro can't even get there in one tank.
So
were there hippies there?
Okay. I'm a nice guy, but that does not absolve me from holding grudges. Especially fast grudges. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So then I was gone.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty quick after that. So what I did after that is the Coast Guard's a unique service. It basically allows you to go to boot camp, learn how to be a decent seaman and fireman. There's two brands. There's an airman, but they kind of got rid of that out of boot camp.
Hey, my seamen are.
Yep. How are your firemen?
probably 4. Probably 4. I don't even know where they come out, dude. I don't even know where they come out.
I think they keep the seamen at bay.
Okay. Anyways.
Keep from overflowing issues. So the way the Coast Guard is designed, and they actually used to be the second hardest boot camp in the world. They were actually up there with the Marine Corps. Sorry,
no
Marines.
shit?
Yeah,
it
used to be a 16-week boot camp. It used to be tough as hell.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, they actually, for a long time, had Marine Corps drill instructors. A lot of this is just, myth, but it was the second hardest boot camp for a long time.
Okay, I can buy that.
They turned that into an academic difficulty. That second, I think that aggregate, the Air Force actually has lower scores on the ASVAB, but the aggregate, I think the Coast Guard has the highest aggregate minimum score of an ASVAB, which is guess at 100. Okay, wait, stop. Let me. Okay,
72.
Army. Let me give you some bases. Army's in the 20s, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, your scores were so high apparently it kind of threw us. So if the Army's in 20s, I'm guessing Coast Guard is 57.
Mid 30s.
Okay.
And
still comparatively very high.
You always forget that urban areas are like more difficult to actually have like a good. I mean, for a small town, we had a good education basis. You guys would have been in schools, but
Intermountain West, like generally public education is pretty good in the Intermountain West when you compare it to like inner city Detroit or Philadelphia or LA public schools. It's like a very different thing up here.
Well, and what I've been explained is when it comes to really bad education versus bad education and decent intelligence, the difference is about 20 to 30. So
that makes sense.
If you're intelligent and you've never seen electronics or any kind of electromotive stuff, there's a lot of mechanical stuff. There's code breaking. If you don't know what's going on, that margin from the 20s to the 30s will get your intelligent, uneducated people there to where they can in turn educate them.
Okay.
So the 30s is big. They want to keep it,
So if you got a really smart motherfucker coming out of the worst high school in inner city,
he should still be able to knock out at 36.
Still gonna hit those 30s, and then they can fix the lack of education.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Makes perfect sense.
But I came from the Roscoe side of my family is highly intelligent. I was, not grilled, but like impressed upon that learning as much as you can. I think I still graduated with like a 3.0 or 3.5, but I never cared about grades. I like never anybody that went to high school with me, I did not give a shit.
You had to fight gangbangers. You had a lot on your plate.
That was later, but yeah.
So at what point, like, were you in boot camp when you got your job? Did they assign you your job, or were you able to?
Yeah, how does that work?
Let's get back to that. That's the unique part about the Coast Guard. So any other branch of the military, and this is a huge sales and marketing thing versus supply and demand, every branch has places that are completely full and places that are somewhat empty. And so the recruiters go out there and basically hard sell certain jobs.
Okay.
For a long time, fuel and truck drivers and stuff, they could sell those pretty easily. They just had to figure out what personality type, fills that. Well,
okay, makes sense.
I'm going to guess, I'm not 100% sure, but after Iraq and Afghanistan, truck driver is not the best option. IEDs.
It was probably awesome prior to that, right?
Yeah.
Just drive a truck.
I actually worked with a guy that was Marine Corps Moto T, which is motor transport.
Okay.
In the Helmand province, and he loved it.
Really?
Yeah, he never got blown up. So
I guess if you don't get blown up, it's pretty cool. If you get blown up, pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so what they do is they hard sell jobs, but they basically get you to commit to a job before you can go to boot camp.
Okay.
Coast Guard, totally different. When I entered, they had somewhere around, like right before, they had 35,000. They wanted a force reduction at 25,000.
Okay. Because
the force reduction, for 20, and then they overshot it. By the time they were aggressively recruiting again, they hit down to like 22 or something like that. Their goal is 25. They overshot it.
Okay.
But what they do is they basically tell you anything you want to hear, but they don't handcuff you to a job. You go to boot camp. They teach you everything you can do to go to an active unit, and B, you automatically get promoted to E2, and you're an active seaman or fireman. That's kind of a coin toss. You can fill out what they call a dream sheet your 7th week of boot camp. You say, I want to be East Coast, I want to be West Coast, I want to be in a land unit, I want to be in a float unit.
Okay.
Most people join the Coast Guard to kind of do a modified Baywatch. They want to be
makes sense.
Modified Baywatch,
militaristic Baywatch.
Well, most guys in the Coast Guard, unless you lived in most of the East Coast and Long Beach, Alameda, Seattle, or Honolulu, you don't even know the Coast Guard has big ships. Nobody knows that. I mean, my ship, my cutter was 378 feet long.
Whoa,
it's a beast.
Shit. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
3-inch cannon in the front, my gun in the back. White Needle of Death. It was an actual warship.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Most people don't. They tell them on purpose. Oh, you want to fly helicopters? We totally fly helicopters. Yeah. After you join as an enlisted guy, get your degree, apply for OCS, and then have all the physical and mental capabilities to go to freaking chopper school. Of course you can fly out. They don't say that last part.
Right.
But, I even think that maybe I even asked that question. But I went in, and what they do is they get you into the fleet, and afloat units and going to big bases gives you exposure to all the different jobs in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
It is the Coast Guard's duty to show you, to expose you to every available, what they call rate in the Coast Guard. If it's not in your unit, you can actually apply over a certain amount of time when you prove that you're not a piece of shit to do extra duty elsewhere if they don't have like aviation units there, if they don't have whatever there.
So they want to kind of like let you look at everything.
100% exposure. It is completely your right to request it at a certain point. And you about a year out of boot camp, you're going to make E3, which means you basically went through all of the training and done all of the practical factors. There's more practical factors than there are tests, and that's basically proving blah blah blah. And there's a lot to it. It's tough in college for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough in college. So you do all that, and then when you get to your E3 promotion, that is the point in which you get to put your name on a list of any rate, regardless of the exposure or not. So there's actually cool guy rates, right? It used to be called ASM, which is Aviation Survival, and now it's AST, Aviation Survival Technician. That's the guys that jump out of the helicopters. Everybody wants to be that guy.
The Ashton Cookers.
Yeah.
Rescue diver.
Yep.
Okay.
Rescue diver is actually below that. You can have a rescue diver on every ship. You just got to go to rescue diver school. But
these guys jumping out of helicopters.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when they get assigned to C-130s, they're actually parachute sewers, and they get to ride in the back of the plane for 12 hours of a shot. It's not all glamorous. But
that doesn't sound as cool.
You got to be badass. You got to be the badass of the badass. And sometimes you have to rotate anyway. And that's another bad thing about the Coast Guard is you rotate to boredom. And now that I'm older, not a big deal. But as everybody knows, military is pretty much, completely manned by teenagers and people in their early 20s. So nobody wants to ride in the back of a C-130 for 12 hours.
When they're 22.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
It's cold. I've been there. What I found, I always really like this one thing called fire control technician. And what it is basically you learn every electromechanical, hydraulic, and environmental concept on top of electronics, and then you work on weapon systems. The Navy, especially, they kind of have gunner's mates that work on the explosives. They have, like electricians mates that work on the electricity. They have, all sorts of people that basically take care of the externals, and then you have your fire control technicians that deal with the operation and the electronics.
Okay.
It's a lot harder than electronics technicians. It's very difficult. The washout rate's huge. Not as huge as nukes, but the funny thing is the big washout rate for nuclear engineers in the Navy are nuclear ETs, which are nuclear electronics technicians. So it's the hardest thing you do in the military as an enlisted person. Electronics is very difficult.
Okay. So you were attracted to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing that detracted most people to this is you are guaranteed 75% of your life underway. You're on a big ship because it's the only place they have them. It's the only place they have.
Okay, so if you choose this specialty,
you're
going to be on big ships on the sea all the time.
Yep, and that's where the motto goes, the only way is underway.
Okay. That's the motto of the Coast Guard?
No, that's the motto of cuttermen and salty dogs.
Okay.
Only way is underway.
Salty dogs.
Okay.
Like I used to tell most of the guys on this ship, I got more seat time on the crapper than
a lot of dudes
you've ever had.
Have, yeah.
You've passed more telephone. I've passed more buoys than you've passed telephone poles, motherfuckers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that.
Okay, so you chose that one.
Yep. So
tell them what your gun was.
It was a CWIS, close-in weapon system. They call it the Phalanx. It is a 20 millimeter Gatling gun, the same thing that's in the nose of most aircraft, besides the A-10 Warthog, which is actually a 30 millimeter scary ass gun. Mm-hmm. But most fighters have a 20 millimeter. They use ball rounds, which is basically just a big old plug. We use, I believe it's 17 millimeter with plastic sabots, tungsten penetrator, 4,500 rounds a minute.
4,500 rounds a minute.
4,500 rounds are flying out of this thing.
Does that get your dick hard?
The projectiles travel less than 30 inches behind each other. That's exactly
every 30 inches.
How many feet?
You got around.
How many feet per second do those things shoot?
It exceeds most of your Wildcat rounds.
So we're talking like 5,000 feet per second.
Less.
4,000, 3,000.
Between 3 and 4.
Between 3,000 and 4,000 feet per second. So super hot.
Tungsten penetrator too.
Tungsten penetrator.
So it's as heavy as a ball round.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they have a sabot, just like a shotgun slug, right? Explain to people what the purpose of that is.
Okay, sabot basically is made out of either plastic, a polymer, or Teflon, and basically it's 4 different arrowhead-looking things that are basically in a circle with a penetrator in between. All of that is inside of the casing. When it's shot out, you have basically the length of the barrel for it to do everything a normal bullet would do. And as soon as it clears the barrel, the 4 sabots branch off and it sends a narrower projectile of a higher density, in this case, on its way.
This is how my ex-girlfriend described with me.
I actually should. I should pat the 30.6 version. It's pretty impressive. Yeah.
No, it's funny. I sent you a video of the phalanx or whatever, and you were like, "Dude, that was my fucking gun."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think your response was like, "I had the best running gun in the whole like Pacific Fleet."
Yeah. And the only reason that's not brags, the civilian technicians out of Hawaii who had been, they were old school. They'd been to San Diego doing, because that's another, there's FLT Pack, I can't remember. Fleet Pack has got certain civilian things because either, and name it, General Electric owned it. Grumman owned it. Everybody's kind of got
basically these civilian guys are seeing all the guns.
They're employed by, well, no, they have, but generally what happens is you get like Hughes owned it for a while. I think Raytheon took it over right before I left. So what happens is these are weapons contractors are really flighty when it comes to what's paying the bills and what's not.
Okay.
So they buy each other out, but they actually buy little pieces of each company. And so Seawas and Phalanx, the word is how long is it going to be till it's phased out? And it should have been gone by now, but it didn't. So people get paranoid, they sell them, and then companies get paranoid, they sell them, and then it just keeps on happening. GE invented it. Hughes had it, I think.
This is the gun system.
The entire system. Okay. But the reps kind of stay the same. They're kind of unique. You know, they're badasses. They worked on it probably when they were in the military. They went out, got a civilian job.
So these same guys know all about this type of gun.
That's their specialty.
They give you.
That's what they do.
They're in charge of the upgrades.
Okay.
The faults with repairs. Anything over $25,000 in Yeah.
And when they saw your gun,
they knew it. They'd been there. They
were like, "This is the best running gun in the Pacific Fleet."
Well, and they knew what the gun was like before I got there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they were saying you were doing a better job of keeping that thing running well.
I was hell on wheels with that gun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Big ups for the mechanical aptitude that I gained living on a farm, industrial. I already knew.
Okay.
I knew more about hydraulics and electronics and like all the stuff that most people.
So they were saying you're the badass motherfucker at making this gun run well.
I was. Yeah.
Awesome.
I believe most of my shipmates could either agree or disagree with me. I don't really know or care. I kind of got the Coast Guard Cutter Jarvis their Battle E, which is the battle grading for excellence for going through drills and actually shooting enough stuff down. Ooh. Our 3-inch cannon was great, but the radar running it would not go from search to track. So you find something, and then you have to go to track mode. So
they could find it, but they couldn't track it.
Yeah, and that's where the track radar lights it up. And
important for targeting, right?
Yeah, because like with radar and guns like this, you have this big parallax problem where you have your search and track up here, and then the gun's got to go. So search, I found it, and then track goes on the track radar, and then they both become one. Like this.
Basically, they weren't doing that. So wasn't those motherfuckers that earned the excellent rating?
It wouldn't hand over to track.
Wasn't those guys?
No. So they did the first half. Everything was great, and they're like, "All right, track it and shoot it." Because we had a drone with a fake missile at the back, like a 2-mile table.
Okay.
And so they're like, "Hey, there it is, blah, blah, blah. All right. Hey, gun. Gun? And it didn't happen for the 3-inch cannon.
So wasn't those guys getting the excellent?
Well, it's an aggregate, right? So then they come back to me. They're like, "You have to splash this drone. You have to." I'm like, "I got this." And just destroyed it. It actually splashed 200 yards off the bow.
Nice.
And you weren't really supposed to splash it, and it's out of my control. It's all automated because there's a big armor-plated cone. But my gun acquired so quick and lit up the target because the Navy hates it. They have to build a whole new one.
Okay.
I'd vaporize that son of a bitch.
Nice.
Yeah. So
fuck the Navy.
Fuck those squids.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's 160 people on that ship, and only one guy got that fucking battle lead.
Nice. There you go.
My chief came in just freaking doing back handspring. So
okay, so now we know what you were doing. Basically, what you're doing in the Coast Guard. Let's talk about stuff that happened while you were doing that. Like what kind of memories? What are the most memorable things that happened while you were in the Coast Guard?
Shenanigans.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about. Now we talk about all the official shit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the shit that actually happened.
Okay, so although I made myself out to be this cool professional guy, when you're stationed in Hawaii, I'm going to just step over the standard stuff I did because I was in Virginia for almost a year and a half doing all my training. That was electronics and weapons over and over and over again.
In Norfolk?
No, Yorktown and Virginia Beach.
She don't smoke, drink, Norfolk.
Exactly. I'm glad.
Where the fuck did you get that?
And it's actually better because it's Norfolk.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. They totally call it Norfolk.
The radio stations, like we put the beep in Norfolk. Yeah.
Awesome.
So no, that place is super dangerous. People are getting shot all the time. Like military guys are getting rolled at the ATMs and then shot and put in dumpsters like a lot. That's a very dangerous place in the country.
Where's that?
Norfolk
and Norfolk, Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, they're only bordered by a river, and Norfolk is the base. Portsmouth is the Navy is the ship base, and then Portsmouth that's where a big hospital is, and I believe an old bridge. That was kind of the land. No piers there. Go across the river, all the piers are there, and that's aircraft carriers. You go inland by 50 miles, you have Newport News in Yorktown. Yorktown is on the York River, obviously, and that is, we're talking Civil War and Revolutionary War battlefields all the way through to get to the gate. There's still, all the shit right there. They keep it mowed.
Damn.
Some people with 4-wheel drives and bad judgment might go high-speed drifting in their brand new Nissan and a 4-wheel drive hard body. Oh yeah.
Wow.
They're great angles to jump like a tabletop.
So you desecrated this country's Revolutionary War battlefields with your Nissan mini truck.
Some other asshole
through there. And it's like, Robert E. Lee, kiss my Nissan ass.
The day this asshole got to
George Washington.
This guy got to Yorktown. He found an old shipmate. They went to the Yorktown pub, got shit-faced, and this big, long, open road to the gate. There's this big, long football field off to the left with this nice little tabletop. 4 high. Actually,
your Nissan became a trophy truck.
Baja.
I mean, this guy's Nissan became.
Well, this guy had already trophy trucked his shit in the desert, Idaho. I mean, Wyoming. Yeah. And yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.
He was an idiot. So no, it's standard. I'm 21. By the way,
this kind of shit happens.
Yeah.
You're a 21-year-old in the military.
Considered old, by the way. Considered old man was later on going to Virginia Beach
when you were 25.
Yeah, I got
old man.
Oh yeah, I got transferred from my Coast Guard school to a Navy SEAL school because Coast Guard didn't have schools for that weapon system. 50 miles towards the coast in Virginia Beach. That's where SEAL Team 6 and 2 and 5 in it. I can't remember, but no, it's Dam Neck is a big deal, and that was awesome. That's where I got introduced to powerlifting, creatine, Yohimbe, and
Iron Life, motherfucker,
Iron Life.
You would not. Well, I was a very thin guy until that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would never recognize me. I got some pictures.
I saw a picture of you on Facebook. You look very different when you were around that age. Maybe a little older. I don't know.
A lot of basketball, a lot of running.
You look very different than you look now, for sure.
Oh, I was cracking off 7-minute miles all day, which isn't impressive, but for 3 to 5 miles, I mean, I was 175.
7-minute miles,
yeah.
you said?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Back to back.
Dude.
5 miles. Yeah.
Dude, I ran a mile and a half earlier tonight with Jeff Rogers at the Student Life Center.
Jeff Rogers can run a mile and a half?
No, that was when he had to go. That's a story we'll talk about later. But he had to go back to his dorm room, basically. Okay. But anyways, 7-minute miles fucking fast.
Effective long distance running has to do more with form than anybody would ever, a form of repetition than anybody would ever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can't duck walk, you can't duck run. It's got to be It's really got to be smooth. The stride's got to be good enough to where it doesn't really mess your hamstrings up and you can't short step it. It takes a long time. It took months for me to really get my times down.
Yeah, for sure. Distance running is like a thing that takes. You got to put some work in. Pat and I went through a period in our life when we did a lot of mile and a half. Yeah.
Oh, and it goes away. You can't just pick it up and do it again.
Yeah, no it definitely takes time to build up for sure.
Yep.
So
you got to realize, like, I used to always run my first mile on my toes. So I'd bust out a 7, and then I would warm up on my 8-minute, and then I'd blast a 6 at the end, or the other way around.
That makes sense. I like that strategy.
Or if I'm really warmed
Start
up.
fast. Glide through the middle, finish fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the thing is like you're definitely going to need some time in the middle to like kind of get your bearings. So if you're feeling really good though, you can blast a 6, do an 8, and then finish with a 7. It just really depends on how you're feeling. But I always modeled my running after the Marine Corps, which is always 3 miles. They double every other branch. Everything else is miles.
I was gonna say you're doing 3s.
Yeah. Mile and a half's just hard to figure out sometimes. I mean, I don't know.
Mile and a half's a hard distance for sure.
Well, and if you want to if you really want to get better in mile and a half, just kick your own ass in the first mile or warm up for the first quarter, blow a mile-ish, and then just put some work in at the end. Finish it up. With
it's all mental. Seems like that last half mile, and especially the last quarter, which is one lap on the track, is like very mental. It's like just how much can I push myself today? Well,
my mentality was the cool down. Like a lot of people run, and then they just walk around with their hands on their hips breathing. Just do another mile, slow. I mean, you might as well just get some more work in while you cool down. I mean, that's what I used to do riding my bike too.
Dude, if anybody listening is interested in all this cardio talk, there's a really good thread on SureDog right now about, I think it's called like, has anyone actually improved their cardio ? And then inside that thread, there's a link to another thread where the guy who was the strength conditioning coach for Matt Hume's AMC Pancration, that dude, and he was also the strength of NFL players. That dude has made this thread on SureDog where he like breaks down his theory of cardio, which is very, very different than the sort of Tabata interval heavy sprinting sort of philosophy of cardio that a lot of grapplers especially are big on now. And he has like some very persuasive shit he wrote. It's like very contrary to what I think about cardio, but what he wrote is like very, very persuasive. And he's talking about Tabata intervals and shit like that, making your heart contract faster because the muscle gets thicker.
Oh, you're fast twitching your.
No. I mean,
I guess it's striding muscle.
He's saying the muscle in your heart actually gets thicker,
so it can contract faster. But he's saying LSD training, long, slow distance training, actually
makes it larger.
Makes it push a higher volume, volume, which is what they always said about LSD training. But he's like, what's weird is I think the Tabata interval was like sort of presented to us as like it does the same thing as distance. Only you can
actually do it the opposite.
You can do it in 4 minutes. But this guy's like, no, it does something valuable also, which is make your heart muscle thicker so it can contract faster. But only LSD makes your heart pump a higher volume with each stroke, which is kind of interesting because he's like, and what he says about this real quick, what he says about this is like the thicker heart muscle and the faster contraction allows you to create more power, right? Like, he's like, if you take a guy who's done a bunch of Tabata intervals and you're like, how much shit can you push here for like 30 seconds?
Yeah.
That's the guy who can push a lot. Yeah. But the LSD guy, he can throw so much more blood through his body because he has a higher volume that he doesn't have the power, but he can do so much more over a longer time period. Well, which is kind of, I don't know if I believe him, but it's interesting.
Yeah, didn't this guy say that basically he's like, you should do both, though?
Yeah, it's kind of like he pointed out something really interesting that everybody forgets about the Tabata protocol. Like, very few people have actually read the original paper written by Tabata in Japan, but part of his protocol was that the same guys who were doing the Tabata intervals were also running for like an hour on the side.
Yeah.
So,
which is very difficult, by the way. Go ahead and try to run for an hour. So
because it's like 6 miles. It's like at least 6 miles.
Yeah, dude, and because anybody in a decent shape should be able to bust out 5 miles in 45 minutes. That was my embarrassing 5 miles.
That's like how many people can just run 6 miles
without something? Because The problem with running is some part of your body is going to talk you out of going any further. It can be your lower back, your knees, your ankle. It can, there's the muscles behind your shoulder blades.
Is that a 10? How far is 10K?
10K is about 2.2K.
6.4, right? 3.
Every K is
so 5K.
It's like 2 to 1
or something like that.
Yeah, so 6.4. Yeah, so it's like
whatever it is.
You're talking about
it's about 10. It's about
you're talking about 10K basically in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck's running 10Ks?
Yeah. No,
on the regular.
That's why people pay to run 5Ks, not 10.
Only girls who spend most of their time at Starbucks and run a 10K every 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the only motherfuckers running.
I used to run 5 miles because I actually lived in a really crappy part of Honolulu called Salt Lake, believe it or not.
No shit.
Called Salt Lake?
Yep.
Really?
There's actually St. Louis, there's Salt Lake. They're not too far apart.
So for our international listeners, we're in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is the home of the 2002 Olympics.
Yeah.
So
you know what? Okay, so when I was studying abroad, people would ask me, "Where are you from?" And I would go, "Utah." They go, "Where's that?" And I go, "Like Salt Lake City." And they go, "Where's that?" And I go, "We hosted the 2002 Winter Olympics." They go, And they just like shake their heads. And I go, "It's by Las Vegas." And they go, "Okay." And then they
Las Vegas, motherfucker.
Then they would go, and then occasionally, a lot of people would go, "So is this like where the Utah Jazz is?" And I was like, "Yeah."
No shit, they knew the Jazz.
I already knew who the fucking Jazz were.
These guys, basketball's international.
These guys,
especially the Eastern Bloc countries.
These guys from Eastern Europe, from like Slovenia.
Pat was in Brno, Czech Republic.
I was in the Czech Republic for 6 months, and these guys from like Slovenia knew who the Utah Jazz were, but like didn't know like what Salt Lake City was, didn't care about the fucking 2002 Winter Olympics, but they knew who the fucking Utah Jazz.
There's no mountains in Czech Republic, so they don't care about winter sports.
Yeah.
Did they film Hostel there?
Hostel?
Yeah.
No, that was
Slovakia.
Oh yeah,
which
they filmed it in Prague,
Slovakia, which is basically the Czech Republic light.
Dude, Pat was.
But they probably filmed it in Prague.
Pat was like 60 miles from Slovakia, right?
Yeah, super close.
What is it called now? Slovak Republic or something like that?
I think it's just called Slovakia.
Yeah. You didn't do any elite hunting over there then, did you?
No.
Okay.
Dude, Chris, it's so fucking cool. So I went over and visited Pat with my roommate
No
for
shit.
like a week. Yeah, in Brno, and we also hung out in Prague for a while. Dude, it's so fucking cool. You go into this like little like weird mall thing, and there's like little kiosks down there, and they'll sell like cell phones and fucking guns. And those have like
they sell guns everywhere.
Dude, those have like fucking nines and all kinds of shit.
And little crappy
like,
Russian nines.
No. They have really nice Czech made guns.
And they'll have Nokia cell phones right now.
How much is the tax on?
I don't know. Yeah. Like I didn't even go in and talk to guys about buying guns. Like my main thing over there was like not getting arrested. But
it's like freedom, man.
They would
freedom.
So they'd have like big gun stores in the center of town, and then there was like these malls with gun stores, gun cell phone stores, and then there's like you go in these like tunnels to get to the mall. There'd be these kiosks in these tunnels.
That was the one I saw.
Right next to beggars, and there's like guns, like fucking handguns and cell phones. And then there's like a gypsy beggar like outside of the
store. Dude, nothing against our Roma friends. We love you, but
I'm a huge Go Bordello fan. So
it was so weird.
No shit though. It's so cool, dude. Like you just walk in there. I guess we never did it. Well, I was there, but you could just walk in there and buy guns. Apparently, it was no big deal.
Yeah,
they're just these are guns.
Apparently, all the French guys that I was in the international program with, apparently all the French guys bought guns.
There's no fucking way they're buying guns in Paris.
Yeah,
like that.
So those dudes all bought guns. I was just like, no, I'm good.
No. Do you think you could concealed carry in Brno?
I don't think there's a law.
Yeah, so it's just freedom, right? They don't give a fuck. So they're just like carry a gun.
It's really funny. So
do they buy guns though? Because you could buy, carry, sell.
So
right?
pretty much like all over that part of Europe,
nobody was open carrying.
From what I saw, you see police during the day, and they're all carrying like submachine guns, like really nice HKs.
Yeah, of course.
And then once about 5 p.m. hit, there were no more police on the street. Before that, you would see police like all morning, all afternoon. You'd see police. Like,
yeah, we saw them in the square.
Yeah, just be around.
Then they got fast response teams ready.
Yeah, they're around, and then like 5 p.m. hit, and like
Boom.
you couldn't pay police to show up if you were getting murdered.
They're like,
so it's not like
They go home.
So it's not like Germany where they actually have the Polizei and then it's all fast response after Sunday.
No, it was.
They're just like fuck you after 5.
I was in the second.
That's an awesome logo. I don't know where they were.
I was in the second biggest city in the Czech Republic,
which I've never heard of. But Brno?
Yeah, Brno.
Dude, it was pretty fucking cool. It was a cool place to be.
Like we were walking to the bar one night and we like walked by the police station and the lights were on and no one was in there. Like it was all glass, like so you could see in and no one was in there. And I asked this Czech kid, I was like, where are the police at? And he's like, they went home for the night. Like
it's over. Law's over.
Yeah. And so you could pretty much like people ask about like how was it, and it really is like the Wild West where you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, to some extent, there's
Italy was like that in a strange way.
Yeah,
there's 5 branches, so as long as you like, there's like the bottom branch, there's security guards, and then they don't. It's
care. It's like Rome's the like pickpocket capital of the world. Naples is it Naples?
Yeah.
There's definitely pickpockets in Rome too.
Yeah, I know
sure.
See, I have a skewed view because I went there a month before the tourist season started.
Okay,
go to Rome in April.
Enough.
Go to Rome in April.
I was there in like maybe June, July-ish when there were definitely pickpockets.
My wife and I owned Italy I'd never go to the tourist season. Do something to get around that.
But, dude, it's Italy though. It's awesome all the time, right?
So was that any kind of problems with was the lawlessness in your advantage or disadvantage? Did it cause you to be more brazen or more paranoid?
No, more paranoid. I was more paranoid. I was the only person that I knew of that didn't get pickpocketed.
Oh yeah.
And like I was just kind of on point.
You got to be a front pocket gangster.
I was. I was. I carried my front pocket. I carried my wallet in my front pocket for probably like another 5 months after I got home.
Yeah.
But I was just, it was kind of tiring because I was just like,
hard wallet.
Yeah.
Nice,
I just had to be like on point for like, 6 months straight over there. But
oh shit,
open it up.
You've had that forever.
I've had that for 8 years.
Dude, that's pretty badass.
It scrapes windows in a pinch.
I would consider carrying that.
Well,
yeah. Dude, that's pretty nice. I like
you
that.
got that off an infomercial, didn't you?
No, RSS feed. It's it's called flipsidewallet.com. I've had a few relatives and not mainly relatives that have saw that, ordered it, and have never went back. But you have to have it in your front pocket. But
okay,
fair enough.
Back to your combat sports history.
Combat sports history.
So how did you do combat sports? So you had a lot of cover here. So let's cut out all the bullshit.
Okay,
and just cover the important
you got
shit.
some combat like combatives training a little bit in the Coast Guard.
Okay, right? Luckily we finished off with my primary job in the Coast Guard. If you go to any large ship, there is a secondary job, which is actually the primary reason the Coast Guard's where it is on big ships, which is law enforcement, maritime law enforcement, fisheries, drug interdiction, and environmental pollution.
Thank you, Nancy Reagan. No drugs.
She was Shotokan karate black belt.
Fuck it.
Dare. Keep kids off drugs, motherfuckers.
So what it is basically, it's just like, so what sport did you get like forced into doing? Like you're a wrestler primarily, but I'm sure they made you play football.
No, I just did it.
He liked football.
Okay. Yeah, I just did everything.
Okay, so a lot of super athletes get forced into an off-season sport.
Basketball for a lot of like wrestlers and football.
No, wrestlers.
Not wrestlers, but football players. Football players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, track
wrestlers would get forced into like baseball, or
like your left tackles. Like basically have no freaking. If there's a really aggressive school, they're shot put. in track. They're
wide receivers. They make them run the one.
They
Yeah.
should try and make me throw in track.
Yeah, all you gotta do,
pat through discus.
You just gotta screw up the audition a little bit.
I tried to turn myself into a javelin thrower. That wasn't happening.
You have to have like 4 or 5 speed to get that going, right? Yeah,
you just have to have really long arms so you can get
the whip.
Yeah, the guys who are good javelin throwers, at least when I was in high school, they're all dudes who are super long and skinny, like Ty.
And then you have to have fast twitch, so you have your abs got to be able to twitch fast and rotator.
Not even that. They were just all dudes who were super long.
Dude, it fucks up your shoulder though.
Yeah,
it fucks up your shoulder for sure.
Oh yeah, we my school also had a huge, we call it sham battle, but it's basically dodgeball. That's more brutal.
Okay.
Nobody got out of my school without having rotator cuff problems.
Okay.
Okay, so
back on track.
Combatives. Okay, so what happened is anybody that had any kind of promise going on to a new large afloat unit, and I just got off of an intense powerlifting routine when I was in Virginia. I had a buddy that looks like Charles S. Dutton.
So we're talking
Andrew Alexander, you badass.
Are we talking? So that was Rock.
Andrew Alexander is your buddy.
He's the one that said, "Hey, you're skinny, but you got broad shoulders." And he never
lived.
Yeah, well, he was actually Iowa State. He went to Ohio State.
Black guy.
Yeah. No, so, Charles Dutton.
Charles. So we got millennials who listen to this shit. So Charles S. Dutton was this guy who
had Rudy. He was
a sitcom called Rock, but he was also a convicted murderer. I think he went to jail for homicide.
Manslaughter.
I could be wrong. Yeah. Anyways,
and he's also the caretaker in Rudy.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, he was obsessed with video games and lifting weights and nothing else. But he was he's a strong guy. And his dad, I believe, his dad was an engineer or worked for the railroad, and his parents would not let him play football, wrestle, anything.
No shit. So he just lifted.
Yeah.
What kind of lifts? Were you guys doing true powerlifting lifts, like just bench, deadlift, and squat?
Yeah.
Or what were you doing?
That's it.
Those ones. Okay. Yeah.
He would never
do powerlifting.
He said curls are a waste of time, all that stuff.
I'm with
but
him.
But I'm
with him, man.
We used to sit there and play Tekken 2 and Need for Speed on PS1. And he's like, hey, he just said, hey, you look like you got a frame. You've never realized you need to start powerlifting. And so I like
where that's going. And
we are on a military base. So there is a full gym. There's pictures of an empty gym at 4 p.m., which we usually got out at 3. We had it to ourselves. So we just basically 4 hours a day. Yeah. This is the upswing of creatine. I started taking Yohimbe extract and doing the 32 gram. Well, actually,
what year was this?
1996.
Dude, I remember in 95 to 97, I was in high school track, and our coach ran a little pseudo clinical trial on us using creatine.
It's not. Yeah. It's good. It's good for creatine. Basically, expands your the ability of your cells to retain water. It sucks.
Forces your muscles to hold more water, and it theoretically turns ADP, adenosine diphosphate into adenosine triphosphate, which your muscle uses for
or just your ADP count mainly. It just boosts your ADP count
theoretically.
So what really helped me was there's another instructor, and this is when I was in the Navy school for my weapons system. He was a professional bodybuilder.
Okay,
he lived on creatine, coffee, and 32 grams of protein every 3 hours. And it's 1 gram of protein per 1 kilo of lean body mass.
I remember that from Muscle and Fitness. Dude, 1999.
What a pussy. Back in my day in high school, we do a gram of protein for a pound of for every pound you weighed, man.
Oh,
dude. I was around there eating fucking 200 grams of protein a day.
Oh, your kidneys.
Just shitting like crazy.
Yeah, people to jump start your crap by hitting you in the kidneys.
Yeah. Late 90s, you do 100 grams of protein every time you see a hot chick.
Yeah,
just throw it down.
But hey, for every piece of ass you slay, you actually get protein. So if you want to
replenish,
so it's a goal. Okay. And anyway, so
shipboarding.
I came off of the ship, or it came off.
Came out of some serious powerlifting.
I was a very large yoked individual, going to my first ship. So they're like, "You're gonna do law enforcement because you're a weapons guy. So we don't even want any objections.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
You've been powerlifting around there with Charles S. Dutton.
Yeah. So no, I was deadlifting 405, benching 330, not
How
big.
much were you squatting?
Squats. We stayed away from squats because
fucking weak.
No, because everybody had bad knees. Like they didn't want to
fucking pussy.
I knew it. Just kidding.
Us
Hamleys, we're squat masters.
Yeah.
We're masters of the fucking
that
squat.
luscious booty, you can squat in your sleep.
We're just kidding.
No, we never really saw the benefit of, number one, our uniforms were pretty tight in the legs. So if you squatted
you had to wear them in the weight room.
No, but you just had to buy new uniforms. So we were.
Oh, you guys are trying not to blow up your legs, and your ass.
Yeah. So
big asses mean you have to buy
especially the Navy. Navy, those guys had some tight ass shit. But no, we were having problems.
Okay, fair enough, man.
We weren't making a lot of money, and my insurance bill for my truck was $200 a month.
What?
Yeah, I was under 25 in Virginia.
How many nuns did you hit in high school?
None. It's just they had you over a barrel, man. They wouldn't even take farmers insurance over there because it was too reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah. It was bad.
You're not squatting. You're not trying to blow out the ass in your Coast Guard uniforms.
Yeah, 3 plates. Yeah, nothing big. 325.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You guys are like leg day. Nah.
No. But well, when you deadlift though,
deadlifting is a serious lower body activity.
Yeah, what it does is it just doesn't really blow up the bottom parts of your legs. It gets all your upper girdle and your butt.
Like Jeff Rogers, you're a badass because you squatted tonight. I was there.
How much did Jeff Rogers squat?
Jeff Rogers, he's let's call him
135, man.
Let's call him a beginning squatter. You may have hit it directly on the head. 135. He's a beginning squatter, but he was looking at the ladies while I was squatting.
Okay.
That was a big.
Right.
That was a good thing.
Enough about lifting. I want to hear about law enforcement.
Okay,
so you're a fucking power lifter. You get on your boat. They're like, law enforcement, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Fuck your electronics.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is
take that pocket protector out of your pocket, motherfucker. You're a law enforcement guy now. No more electrical engineering shit.
Yeah, board fucking fishing vessels.
A friend of mine, Travis Silver, another badass, told me that I could take all my tests early and test into second-class petty officer. Basically, when I hit my first unit, which you're supposed to be a third class, learning your stuff.
So this guy clued you into a little way to jump
loophole.
ahead.
Yeah, not a loophole, but most people are usually mentally fatigued enough to where they can't study for the next phase. We had 700 flashcards for all this shit that we've never even heard of, been taught of.
Oh, fuck.
And so we just drilled it and then passed the test. And then I got promoted within 2 months.
And what happened when you got promoted?
Work center supervisor. Everybody that was my peer became my underling within 2 or 3 months. I sweet talked my chief and I got the sloop job because they didn't like what those guys were doing.
And what was your job?
Running the entire weapon system on the back of the ship.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if you guys find some fucking drug smugglers and they're like, you can't board us, we're gonna shoot our guns at you. You're just gonna light them up.
That's why I got recruited into the gold team so fast in law enforcement.
What the fuck is gold team?
Red, white, blue, gold. Okay. Red, white, blue. What happens is basically I'm gonna be very, very specific. Okay. We are stationed in Honolulu, Hawaii. It is 1 day less steaming up to the Bering than it is
Bering Strait in Alaska.
Bering Strait, deadliest catch, all that shit.
Russia, motherfuckers.
It's even quicker by half a day from Seattle.
Russian gangsters running heroin into Anchorage.
I missed the Russian protocol by 6 months. I've never met a.
Don't worry. Keep going.
It scared me the shit out of some Bosnians, but all right. So I'll get to that. So what happens is, because even though they're supposed to rotate all these ships, because my ship had been to Peru before I got there, to Russia before I got there, which is it wasn't sub-Siberian, but when you look at that zone, it's still Siberia.
But it was before you got there.
Yeah, but it's not Siberia. It's actually a seaport. So I didn't get to go there. I didn't get to go to Peru. And then it was just 2 to 2.5 months out in the middle of the Bering Sea, 2 months in port.
Okay, so Bering Sea. Let's talk about that shit. You're on a boat in the Bering Sea. You look out off the bow or the stern or the aft. I don't know what the fuck you call it. All of it. Every direction.
Generally not the bow. Aft, yeah.
Okay, the bow is the front, right?
You fantail, or
okay, you're looking
port side, starboard side.
You're looking out some direction from the fucking boat.
I was starboard side and fantails where I used to hang.
Okay, what the fuck are you seeing? So the people understand what we're talking about here.
Think about a big bathtub. Just a big bathtub.
And is there, what was this water look like? Is there ice in there?
No. Okay, so what it is you basically have your.
So this is between Alaska and fucking Russia.
Literally.
We're talking about.
Literally. So what it really looks like is because of the weather patterns and the land masses, most of the time your currents do not dominate above the Aleutian chain.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
Okay, so if you go south of the Aleutian chain, so the land, everybody knows about the Aleutian chain because that's where the land bridge was from Russia to the United States. It's what, 10,000 years ago?
Asians migrated to North America, became Native Americans.
Okay, so everything below that is some kind of large version of a toilet bowl that's running all sorts of stuff all the way until you get down into the southern.
It's like a vortex? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vortex.
The currents are a vortex.
Oceanography, motherfuckers.
Below the
Exactly.
shades. Okay.
Okay.
Not my expertise, but everything just kind of bleeds over when you're on a ship forever. So what happens is if you go far enough south, though, when you start getting down into like the whole Peruvian area, it turns into a dead zone again. To a point to where the oxygen levels. If you go far enough in the southern Pacific, there's no fish between going off of Peru down to Antarctica. There's no fish.
No oxygen in the water.
No movement.
Doesn't produce the zooplankton, which the small things eat, which the fish eat, which the big fish eat.
Yep. Okay. And the depth's too much. It's like, so there's dead zone there.
Circle life, motherfuckers.
But up there's a live zone.
Science.
Yeah. But there's a live zone. It's not that. It's pretty shallow up there. You get cold water.
When you say shallow, how many feet? What are we talking about? Or do you guys call it fathoms? Or what are we talking about here?
Feet, miles or feet.
Jules Verne, how many fathoms is that?
Not many. It's if you get close enough to
let's talk about feet. Let's not even get into fathoms.
Hundreds.
Okay, so
it could be 1,000, but it depends how far you get to.
So somewhere between 100 and 999 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you start going down to the Marianas Trench, you're talking 5 miles. So it gets deep fast.
But we're not there. We're in the
I have been. Yeah. So that's why it's really rich and rife. There's not a lot of. There is movement. There can be swells. There are swells, but they're not really bad. I mean, the worst hit we ever took was actually up there. So it can get gnarly.
Well, are we talking like? I'm just gonna throw a little rogue wave.
That's exactly what it was. 50-foot rogue wave.
You got here with a 50.
We got broadsided with a 50-foot rogue wave.
Okay,
was it in a white squall?
No. There's no rogue waves in the white squall.
Perfect storm.
They're all rogue waves in squall. No, we used to
describe this shit. Come on,
okay,
man.
So
rogue wave. Talk about this.
Well, I'll get to it. Okay, but let's do the law enforcement thing first. Okay. So basically, what happens is you have a red, white, and blue team, at least on the ship at this time, and you have a gold team. So what happens is everybody has a primary job, and then the secondary job is law enforcement if they choose to do so. So they're not going to sit there and make people go to other ships and check out all of their flotation devices, their pyro, whether their logbooks match how many fish are in the hole, their basically whether they're got the placards where their sewage tanks are. It should say you should not be discharging black waste inside of a 2-mile thing. There are all these rules, fire extinguisher cards that say when the last time it's been inspected. You just basically make sure the ship's safe and they're not lying about how much fish they've caught.
Okay. So wait, are you actually going on these ships?
Yeah. Everybody calls them like Zodiacs or dinghies or whatever.
The little rubber boats.
But we call them RHIBs, rigid hull inflatable boats. The reason is what most people don't see is there's actually a fiberglass or aluminum subhull, and then there's actually
the inflatable part, right?
Yep. And usually it's a Volvo Penta inline 6 turbocharged engine in it. It's a legit boat. It'll scare the pants off.
Okay. So a Volvo, we're talking about a Volvo inline 5-cylinder.
6.
Wait, you said it's called a Pente?
Volvo Penta. Volvo Penta is the marine side of Volvo.
Fuck you, Sweden. How come Penta isn't 5 cylinders?
Okay.
No. Volvo's the nice Volvos too.
Penta should be 5, right?
So
maybe it is a 5-cylinder. Is it? Okay, maybe you're right.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
So tell me about.
You're probably right.
You've told me this story, but I know Jack's never heard it. Was it the first time you boarded a ship? Last.
Okay. So
let's have it.
Okay, let me get back to the red, white, and blue and gold teams. So you have red, white, and blue teams. Okay, because it's your primary duty to do something else. they have to rotate the red, the white, the blue teams. Okay. So what happens is, I think I was blue team and gold team. So whenever our team was up, rotation, you'd go and do it regardless of the situation. Gold team was high threat boardings. So we were the like SWAT team guys.
Okay. These high threat boarding. So you're going to board a ship and you don't know. They might start shooting motherfuckers.
Either they're violent or they won't answer their call. That is usually the number one reason.
So you guys get on your fucking megaphone and you're like, we are boarding you, motherfucker.
Marine band. Radio. Yep, just Marine band.
In the movies, it's always the fucking megaphone.
We have a city floating, and it is a quarter-mile away.
Okay, so they're actually calling these motherfuckers on the phone, and they're like, hey, we're going to board your ass, and they're like not responding, right?
The captain is required of any ship in the world to be on the Marine band. Somebody's supposed to be on the bridge with the Marine band.
So you're in international waters.
Always.
And you're calling this guy and you're like, we're going to board your ass because he has he's flying U.S. flag.
Doesn't matter. International shipping rules. We're the Smokies of the sea, period. All of it.
You're going to board a Russian ship?
Yeah.
Chinese ship? You don't fucking care?
We took over Chinese high seas drift netters when I was in law enforcement school. Took them over, saw that they were doing illegal drift netting and freaking put them in freaking handcuffs and drove the boats back to China for them.
No turtle excluder devices?
No, it was high seas drift nets. You have to be control at all times, and they just let them float and then try to GPS them.
Back to the present story, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to tangent there. Okay.
So I was doing all that, and I became team leader of the blue team. There's still a boarding officer because we're all enlisted, but there's always a boarding officer that actually has to stay on in the wheelhouse.
So this motherfucker was like Coast Guard ROTC or some shit.
No, they're Coast Guard officers. But
I mean, but that's how they became officers. Or
there's a Coast Guard Academy.
Okay, they went to the Coast Guard Academy.
Yeah, okay. but the rotations, they're generally acquiescing to our experience.
Okay, so you're on the blue team now.
I've been asked what to do by boarding officers more than boarding team members.
Okay.
Because I was a BTM leader.
Okay.
And then when it came to the gold team, my buddy Mark Jacobs, who will never hear this because he's old school, he was the gold team leader, but he was a mechanized Army Scout, total badass, range instructor. He was gunner's mate. He was more of the legit. I learned more from him than anybody. Okay. And so me and Jake were kind of like the co-badasses on the gold team, and then we do whatever. But you just basically pull up to the side of the ship, and every ship is required to have this rope ladder with these big planks. It's actually 4 ropes with these big planks so they don't rotate. And it's required to go feet and feet and feet below the water line, and it hangs down there. And then you take your little original inflatable and you pinch the ladder with the boat, and then you give it gas more than the ship has. So you're just pinching that ladder.
So you're pushing against the ladder, which is attached to the boat. Okay.
And then the coxswain, who's basically the boat
coxswain.
Is coxswain. The coxswain. He's the guy that runs. He's your daddy until you're off that ship. He owns you. Then you own your own ass when you're off the ship.
Just like in collegiate crew.
Yeah, exactly. Coxswain always has to say. So basically, you're standing on the pontoon, or standing like 1 foot on the pontoon, 1 foot on the bottom of the boat. So there's a nice little non-skid area there. And you're just looking at him. Most people are stupid and they look at the freaking ladder, but you got to figure out when to go. So you basically just point at the ladder, look back at the guy. And as soon as he nods, all you do is do a 1-legged freaking spring up onto that ladder.
Okay.
So you just boom.
So you're giving people a play-by-play. Here's how we board ships.
Yeah. Look. As soon as you do that, you basically just do like a big old 1-legged vault. Boom. And then you just slam your toes into the side of the ship. Hopefully, you're going to catch the first rung. If not, you better be good at pull-ups. So, but usually you just get really small. Boom. So then as soon as you feel like you're solid, you don't look up, you don't look down, you don't look whatever. You just start. Because they're all the same. They're all the same size. They're all the same. I've never climbed up one that's any different.
Okay.
You can't leave port if you don't have the right one. You just start climbing, and as soon as you get your rhythm, you start looking up. And as soon as you get to the top, there should be a crew waiting for you. You get on there. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that's all good. That's all normal. But what our ship was really good at was training for bad situations, because we had a lot of guys that had a lot of experiences with most of the martial arts. So we actually became kind of the go-to for LE training that wasn't elite training, because there's still Coast Guard Colombian forces, there's still Coast Guard whatever, but we were pretty good as a unit. So we just basically spent a lot of time trading our knowledge with whatever. Most of this knowledge was not allowed. Okay, this was all when this is like was it TF shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the shit is a fan, what are you gonna do? So we luckily, since we had our own little training area, and we actually got to spend a lot of time developing it, because they're like, oh, you're going to Yokosuka, Japan, and these Navy guys want to learn what you guys got to know. We had weeks to develop more grappling, so it was all grappling. A lot of it was horseshit, but I spent 2.5 years. I started early and finished at the end. And so I got a lot of grappling there. What Pat was asking me was the last time I ever boarded.
Okay, let's first tell us, take us through this chronology of this event.
The boarding?
Yeah.
Okay.
But tell us what you've got on you, what you're fucking wearing, what kind of weapons you have on you. And let's go through this, take them as if you're writing a novel. Just tell them what happened.
There's a lot to explain, but
start out with the first moment of the story and tell them what you're fucking wearing, so they know what's going on.
Okay, here. So let's say I'm doing my normal job. It's not like late at night. I'm in CWIS control, working on my weapon system.
Remind people what CWIS control is.
CWIS control is basically, it looks like, if anybody's old enough, they know what Zaxxon looks like. Zaxxon's an old video game. So it kind of looks like that video game, except there's a joystick now, but not back then there wasn't. So basically, I'm sitting there playing with Zaxxon.
You look at the screen,
or you're doing maintenance, or there's a lot of stuff. And then over the 1MC, which is the general system for the entire ship,
like PA,
comm unit,
yeah, comm unit. It's like it's like basically I don't even know general quarters, but they used to call whatever, and they would basically say, hey, this team report to the law enforcement staging area.
And that was your team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if it was my team then. So now blue team report to the law enforcement.
So Miami Vice time, motherfuckers.
Yeah. So it was real tough. I walk out my ship, take a right, go to the fantail, take a right, go up the stairs, go across the flight deck, boom, boom, boom. There's this big old, and you actually, I had my duty belt and all my stuff waiting there. So I grabbed what I had on me. And then I would just run up there and then grab the rest of the stuff that was actually in bulk. So you get into your big Mustang survival suit, which is...
What is that? What is a Mustang survival suit?
Think of the Christmas Story little kid.
Yeah.
Except it's got flotation material on the inside, and it's red with black shoulders and knees, and then retroreflective tape with Velcro on the wrists. And then the zip thing, and it's allowed. There's Gumby suits, which are big neoprene condoms that only have this going on, that don't let it water in. But a Mustang survival suit actually keeps water inside of its whatever, and it keeps it warm and allows you to survive for about half the time as a neoprene survival suit. Everybody's seen the neoprene ones, and
it's like you fall in the water, you're gonna survive half as long as a Gumby suit.
Yeah, which is 2.5 hours and 30 some odd degrees. You're good for a while.
So you're lasting. Wait, that's half as long, or that's the Gumby?
It's half as long as Gumby and infinitely longer than without anything. So you'll die in 5 minutes.
Mustang suit, you're lasting how long? You fall in the water with bearing straight. Hour?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
As opposed to people say 2.5.
Dude, an hour is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if you got your people around.
Cool. So that's what you're wearing.
Gun belt over the suit.
What's on the gun belt?
OC.
Okay.
Pepper spray.
Pepper spray.
Yep.
Asp. Expandable baton.
So he's gonna beat people with that. Stick to beat people with.
My favorite. And then a M9, which is a Beretta
M92.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gen 2. And then
how many rounds does the
15
M92 hold?
15 in. 2 more clips on your left side, so you're running.
Oh no shit!
Yeah,
let's carry 15
clips, magazines. Let's be correct.
Got a clip in the.
People will comment on
Coley
that.
Noir is going to talk shit about you.
Yeah, Coley Noir will
that a
talk
clip.
shit if you call it a clip.
Mm-hmm. I love semantics.
Okay. Anyways, keep going, Chris. Keep going.
Okay, so you have all that, and then you have like a old school Halloween glow lamp, clicky thing.
Okay, cool.
And then you have the coolest thing ever, a freaking strobe light. They're yeah.
Handcuffs? Any handcuffs?
Oh yeah, handcuffs.
This is for disrupting the guys you're
No.
gonna fuck with.
No,
or-
that's if you're that's
the signal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay,
die
gotcha.
and a die pack.
On your lower,
Yeah.
or like
Also,
like
also the signal for
That,
rescue,
and
right?
and when you're floating, there's no way it can ever stay dry. So your die pack, all you got to do is go like this, and then when you pull it out, it'll permeate.
Oh, okay.
Sweet,
Yeah.
man.
Actually,
Okay.
it'll permeate anyway. It just helps. It's on a string. Everything's on a string.
Okay.
And then some of the most special ed freaking helmets I've ever seen in my life. They're gone now. I mean,
Like
they're
Star Wars Jedi Fighter
with
style.
with triangles cut in them. They're made out of like not really solid material. Yeah,
Were they like the old ProTech helmets or no?
they looked like I should be playing
They're bigger.
1913 football.
They're bigger,
Oh,
right?
okay.
They're bigger than Protex.
Yeah, they're bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're because they're basically an old close-off foam with a plastic cover over it, but then they cut these big. They were bad.
Terrible.
They're horrible.
So they're bigger than the
They're made for boat drivers, so the goggles would kick back up. But it's very close to ProTech, except the ProTech actually stopped here with soft bottoms.
Yeah.
They had like this big puffy crap that's still right. You look. It was
so
bad.
bigger than Black Hawk 9 cool guy helmets.
They're red with more retro reflective tape than you ever. I mean,
okay.
they're horrible. They're
Okay.
gone. Okay, anyway,
Okay.
so you get on and you do that. The problem is like you're going over in like sometimes it's 10 degrees out, sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 20. Water is always about 30 to 32 to 35 degrees.
It's not frozen.
No, never.
Yep.
And well, it's salt water too.
Yeah. So it's lower freezing point.
So you do that, but then you scramble up a rope to save your ass from not falling off, and then you get on there, and then you have to go up into the freaking top of the ship where it is a balmy 70 some odd degrees.
So you got a fucking Beretta, and you're
Yeah.
going on the ship, and you don't know what the fuck's going on the ship. Like
Yeah.
you've got your Beretta, and you're like,
Well, no, you have your first mate and some crew sitting there, and that's usually where your indication is good. They're waiting at the top of the ladder for you.
okay, so
Yeah.
they're already up
Yeah.
there.
So you're like, good afternoon.
Wait,
Petty officer.
do they have
Russ-
Berettas also, or what do they have?
No, these are the guys waiting. These are the ship's crew.
From the ship you're boarding.
But I mean, you don't know. These are nefarious motherfuckers.
No.
They might be waiting up there with
No.
a saw.
Nope. Yep. I'm first guy over. I'm
Okay.
on, yeah.
So they might be like waiting, like, "Hey, come on board,"
You
and then they've got a saw.
you slow your roll about 10 feet below.
Okay.
Okay, I do. Everybody else, I'm the one that's there to make sure that everything's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens is I roll up, I slow my roll, I kind of look over. Most people are terrified or pissed off, but not pissed off in like a bad way.
Like when a cop pulls you over on the road, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So yeah, if you there's a different look that I've seen a couple times, and you don't ever really see that. So basically, you you stop, you look, you scramble up, and then basically in your interview stance, boom, boom, boom. Good afternoon, my name's Petty Officer Maraska, United States Coast Guard. It looks like you haven't had your vessel inspected in the last 3 months. Would you mind if I brought my crew on to inspect your firefighting, sewage, ship logs, and safety equipment?
So you do this no matter what the nationality they're called
Yep.
for. Their port of
Yeah,
call,
there's an
right?
agreement. Yeah, National Fisheries Enforcement, something. Yeah.
Okay, so this could be Russian ship, Persian ship,
Yep.
Chinese ship.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck.
Nope.
You're just like, you guys signed the treaty, so we're gonna inspect your asses.
And that's why they put Coast Guardsmen on Navy vessels in high threat situations, because Navy's an act of war. Coast Guard is just an act of commerce.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, this all makes sense.
Yep.
This all makes sense.
So I did that for a while. Everything was normal. There's some cool stuff that I don't want to get into. Had to do with like basically taking conveyors like Super Mario Brothers inside of a ship. That was kind of cool. Like you could just jump on a conveyor and then another one.
Right,
Yeah.
like you're playing a platform.
Oh, it was, once everything was cleared, it was a blast going down there. But
Okay.
all the, like, I'm freezing my ass off. Now I'm going to burst into flames, but I can't take my suit off because my gun belt's on the outside.
Right.
And just wanting to get out of there and go do my thing, because you have to go back down to blast freezers to count fish.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wait, no, take us through this. Like, let's describe what's going on here. I don't want people to
I
get
bring my
confused.
crew up the ladder.
So you're the first guy up this ladder.
Yeah.
You're on the ship, and
Yeah.
these guys this is a fishing vessel you're boarding, right?
Deadliest catch type boats. big tube.
What are they catching? Crab?
This is the ones we did weren't crab set up for crab. They're actually called stern trawlers, and they actually have a net that's so big that the net is this big, and in the end you can still fit the Statue of Liberty inside of it. And they have these little wings. They call doors on the bottom, and they can keep it off the bottom of the thing, so they don't mess the environment up.
So what are they catching? What are they trying
Everything.
to catch?
Cod, herring, black cod, mainly cod and herring. Yeah,
but just like every fucking fish. Are they
everything but bottom feeders?
Is this gill netting or is this like just like
net?
Okay,
trawling.
Regular net.
Yep.
Okay,
and it's kind of cool when you see it, but yeah, you guys can watch it on YouTube. So I'm the first guy up. I bring the rest of my crew up. It's supposed to be like 4, but there's always 4 training personnel who never were going to make it. It was just a liability. But yeah, if they fall off the ladder, it's nothing to do with me.
So you come up and then you got 4 guys behind you.
Yeah, and the boarding officer.
Okay.
Who could be, he's definitely the guy. He's the one that I bring up to the wheelhouse. He starts talking to the captain, doing all of the numbers off the log, and then I immediately disperse my team into sections where we have fire extinguishers, Gumby suits. There has to be one Gumby suit for every person on the ship.
Okay.
You do a visual inspection of a random amount to make sure that there's silicone in the freaking zippers and all that. And then I basically take the thing that seems problematic, the thing that doesn't just become automatic. Okay. The Gumby suits can't find them. That's my thing. The fire extinguishers are all jacked up. That's my thing. Usually it's counting fish, volumetrics. You basically have these big boxes. There's freezers in the bottom. Length, width, height, boom. Keep on doing it by product because they're separated. And then, my boarding officer will tell me what it's supposed to be versus what I counted.
Okay.
That was my main thing. But my other thing was leading people through the ship because most guys are like, what do we do? Okay. Oh, like, you over here. And this is my guys, but I'm like, you over here. Go look at that. You over here. You climb that. Look at that. You da-da-da. All right. Can I go now? Cool. Then I go down to the bowels of the ship and take care of the rest. I did that over and over and over and over again. Not a big deal. Last time ever I board a ship, we pinched the ladder, and it was kind of iffy on whether we should even be there or not. It was kind of rough out. And as soon as I jumped, a big trench came, and the little dinghy went down below the ladder, so it couldn't pinch anymore.
Oh.
At the same time,
so the ladder like hangs off, right?
Yeah, when it kind of popped it because I grabbed it at the same time. So I went and I grabbed the ladder, and all it did was just swing out. We're talking a 30-foot ladder over 30-degree water, and this time the nets were still out. They were still trawling. So we'd already been told, if you fall off this boat, you're dead. It'll drag you under. You'll be in what they call a caught into the net. You're dead man. So all I do is grab the ladder, and I just start swinging backwards.
So this is like some like Pirates of the Caribbean shit where you're 100%. Hanging on some like a ladder, which is basically like a bunch of ropes attached to some boards.
Yep.
And that's just like swinging because the sea is down here now.
Yeah.
And you're just like hanging.
My RHIB is not pinching the ladder anymore.
The Zodiac isn't pushing the ladder into the ship, so you're just like free swinging.
So all I do, the only thing I remember is instead of doing that, I probably already had it like this. And all I did was just pull myself in and just kind of wait to see what was happening. And then I see that not only was I swinging out, I was swinging around. And I just look back and I can see the ship coming at me. So I just basically look back and I go, shit, here we go. And I just slam the back of the ship.
For impact.
Yep. And then
so the ladder kind of like turned like this.
Yeah, swung out like that. A full 300 or 180 degree arc.
So now your back's going to hit the ship. Okay.
Well, the last thing you want to do is slide back down like a pendulum backwards.
Okay.
Right. So all I did as soon as that happened is I just kicked off, slammed it, kicked off, and started swinging back again.
Because you want to be like facing the
ship.
Oh,
yeah, you do not want to be. And so I swung back around, boom, caught it with my feet, and as soon as everything was cool, I just went right up there.
Went out.
Yeah. And so I got to the top, and everybody's like, look, all the people that were, tasked to meet me on that ship just were looking at me, and I'm like, I just went through my spiel. One thing I've done 1,000 times. I'm like,
meanwhile, they're like, good luck. Good job not dying.
Yeah, right? Well, I was like, hey, good afternoon. United States Coast Guard, Bales from Rosca, board the ship, blah, blah, blah. Do you mind if I brought my crew on board? And they're like, you okay? I'm like, I'd rather not talk about that right now.
They were fully expecting they were gonna have to drag their fucking trolling nets up, and you're gonna be in with the cod and the black.
They just
cod
didn't know
and
why.
shit.
They just were confused why I wasn't freaking out. I was
Oh shit!
you okay? I'm like, I'm fine.
Shit, dude.
And so I looked back down, and we had a training crew on there. There's probably like 12 people down there, and there's just like
They're just like, fuck the Coast Guard.
biggest eyeballs I've ever seen. Like, and I'm just like, I just went like that, and they just went like this, and then I see the coxswain call.
They're like, no, we're not coming up.
Yeah. And they're like, it was radio too. They're like, yeah, we're gonna break this off. Have a good time. Do what you can. We don't expect a lot.
So nobody else came
Hell
up.
no. They brought that right back.
They just broke the Zodiac off the ship, and they're like, we'll pick you up later.
Yep. So I just did what I
Oh
could.
shit.
Yeah, I just showed up, and I'm like, all right, bring me up there. I'm like, yeah, we're breaking off. I don't know what we're gonna do. Keep on doing your fishing, blah blah. I was like, I'm not really the guy that does the books, but I'll do the rest. And so I just did my own thing for whatever.
Okay.
And then finally they, grew a pair and freaking brought the ship back over. I think they actually had them redirect course, pull the nets up. But I realized here's the thing. Okay, this story, I would never tell the story because it's not even the coolest thing I've ever done, not even close. It's the fact that none of that shit bothered me. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I came off that, and that was just happened to be my last boarding ever before I was going to get out of the Coast Guard.
That was the last ship you boarded ever in your life.
I was like, if this doesn't bother me, if that shit doesn't scare you, you need to get the fuck out. You cannot sit there and just keep on doing that kind of stuff. It'll kill you. You're just going to keep on.
Okay, so that's your last boarding. So let's fast forward a little bit. You got out of the Coast Guard, started going to Boise State.
Back in Idaho.
No, there's a small piece in between. Electronics badass, Micron.
Okay.
Okay, easy stuff though, right?
Yeah.
Coast Guard, military, you get like all this freaking unemployment. You have to look for a job. I got bored. Went to Micron Electronics. Freaking the e-bubble broke. So basically,
okay, 2000, 2003 territory.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was forced to go back to college.
So you went back to college, right? You're going to college. You got into rock climbing.
Yeah. Okay.
And so something interesting happened.
Yes.
When you got into rock climbing.
Okay,
so
let's
talk about this.
Dude, gravity is not your friend.
Yeah,
Chris.
no.
So let's talk about
gravity's
this.
not your friend.
Well, the thing is like it's a testament to my durability. Actually,
You're doing more of this.
Yeah. Oh, so okay.
It's actually a really good Pinot we got over there, but let's drink the red breast a little bit.
No, it's delicious. So
so just as a side note, we there was a little too the drinking schedule last podcast was a little too rapid. So we've been trying to limit ourselves to one drink every 15 minutes this podcast.
Oh, yeah, I'm below my. No, I'm good.
I think we're on task
No, I think we're
by
good.
a long ways here. So
mainly not wanting to immediately refill is usually my
Okay. Anyways,
which that's why the campfire might have got a little out of control.
Yeah.
There's no.
The campfire was good.
Oh no, out of control in a good way. One of the best parties I've ever been to.
So we're not gonna talk about the party that we had.
No,
this is when we took.
Hey,
third,
you have to join a club to fucking learn about that.
When our club took third at Naga, we had a party at a bar called Campfire. It was a good time. But right now, Chris is gonna talk about something that happened after the Coast Guard.
Yes.
I'm gonna work for Micron, which is like a big Intermountain West computer company.
Yes.
And
we're more about memory now, but we used to be more about circuit board level stuff. So I actually worked on a lot of Cisco large boards, like bigger than most of your old school televisions.
And were you still working for Micron when this went down or after?
That's why I left. They laid me off due to lack of work, which was a NAFTA infraction because they actually had a plant in Mexico. Okay. So most people don't realize about NAFTA, which most people
North
don't know
American Free Trade Agreement.
If
Ross Perot was pissed.
He was
so pissed.
But it's actually good one way. Okay. If you have a plant in Canada or Mexico and you lay anybody off in the United States due to lack of work, and you have not vetted those other plants yet in other countries, every person that you've laid off the U.S. is guaranteed 2 years of continuing education as long as you can show a degree in the end. So with my GI Bill and that, I found out I had to smooth talk it. I could get my criminal justice degree at Boise State in 3 years. In 2 years, actually. So it worked out. I kind of had to do some angling, a bit of work. So the problem is this is right during the Boise State heyday. Problem being the rock climbing thing. They built a
so Chris is going to Boise State at this time.
Yep.
He's like rock climbing, fucking cool. Let's do that.
My cousin just graduated from Central Oregon. Billy Wagner, badass as well. He went to Boise for a little bit. We were hanging out. I actually took over the house he was renting in Boise, and we started getting into the new rec center, which they put a very nice rock climbing room.
Okay,
it's legit. It's really
so
really.
You're
legit.
like rock climbing. Let's do this.
Yeah,
I was a Coast Guard
college snowboarding, rock climbing,
boarding team guy. Now I'm gonna fucking snowboard and rock climb.
That's all I did.
Okay,
that's all I did. So I started getting pretty. I mean, we're not talking any kind of tie level. My wife and I took tie bouldering once at Momentum, and it's not even the same freaking game. Holy shit, Ty.
Ty's pretty good. Yeah. Ty was the guy. The guy he's talking about is the guy who's on our last podcast, Ty Watkins. So okay.
Yeah. Ty's a freaking wizard. But no, I'm good enough. So we started getting into the outdoor rock climbing, and then at the end, I graduated from Boise State 6 months early. I was taking 24 credits in the summer. I graduated, and I got a full degree in 3 years.
Okay.
And the whole reason was to graduate in January. And I was actually working at a ski resort that's now defunct called Tamarack. And I actually was the judge at all their snowboard competitions. So I had a free pass there. And I just basically snowboarded every day.
What was better, Tamarack or Bogus Basin?
Bogus Basin.
I thought you said the exact opposite. That's why I brought that up.
Bogus Basin is okay, at least. Tamarack is elite. It was
okay. Thank you. Okay,
no, Bogus Basin is not competitive anyway.
Okay, that's what I thought you'd say.
Some of the riders,
Tamarack is much better than Bogus Basin.
Some of Bogus Basin's elite riders are great because they have little to work with. But some of my best drops ever are off of a little secret run by the radio towers of Bogus Basin through some bowls that nobody knows
I just love there's a fucking ski resort in Idaho that's called Bogus Basin. Yep. Anyways, go ahead.
Tamarack, and Brundage Mountain in central Idaho, I calls that one of the best places you'll ever ride. I worked there as well. So
just by McCall?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go through McCall and then just take it right up.
Okay, good to know. If you skiers,
snowboarding, skiing. It's actually been certain areas, which I won't tell you about, of having ladders.
So the people can tell we kind of just like corral Chris in. This motherfucker's lived so many lives. We have to be like, no Chris. We're talking about this part of your life, not the other
I get
9 parts of your life. Okay.
So anyway, so back to rock climbing. We're having fun. We're dealing with a lot of guys that are more serious outdoor rock climbers. And so I graduated early. I snowboard the entire year. I get like 100 some odd days. And then it closes like April 15th. I kind of, actually maybe a little later, I check my shit. We start kayaking a little bit. Another thing I do. And then my cousin's like, hey man, we're going to go climb at the Black Cliffs, which is right between Boise and its closest reservoir. I'm like, cool. I just bought a new kayak. I go rock climbing. I go up. We climb all day. I have a gear failure, and I fall 35.
Wait. Before you get into this, describe the Black Cliffs just a little bit.
Okay. If anybody knows what basalt is, it's a black igneous rock that fractures at
volcanic motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Volcanic.
That fractures at 90-degree angles. So cliffs actually fall off at 90-degree angles. They're beautiful, and there's huge cracks everywhere. So it's basically a no-brainer anywhere. It's the opposite of climbing granite. Well, I got a little ballsy. There wasn't as many points to clip in as I should have. Problem was when I fell past my one protection point, it mysteriously unclipped, and I fell 35 feet to flat.
Wait, okay, so go into more. Explain to people what the fuck you're talking about. Non-climbers don't know what you're talking about, man.
So there's two types of climbing. Okay, so whenever you climb something outdoors, someone has to take the rope up to the top. If it's a route that's already been bolted, which is basically a bolt with a metal plate with a hole in it that's been at a 90-degree angle so the hole sticks out. There's chains at the top. Basically what somebody does is one guy has got a rope with a belaying device that slips through. Another guy is tied to the end of that rope, and he basically climbs up the cliff, and then he has these things. Everybody knows what a carabiner is, but if you take 2 carabiners with a piece of nylon webbing in between, it's called a quick draw. You pull it, you have a bunch of those, you clip that onto the bolt, and then you take your piece of rope and you clip it through, and that is your new high point.
So this guy's basically
giving you rope.
Running a bolt into the rock, and he's attaching you to that.
No, well, that's happened in the 70s and 80s. Most of our routes are old. Like, they're old.
But he's attaching you to something that's attached to the rock.
There's a big bolt that's never going to come out, this big plate with a hole, and then your other guy is down below that's giving you rope through like a braking system. You climb up, he's giving you rope, and then as soon as you clip that rope through,
clipping you into this point, this high point. Okay.
Yep. And then if you fall, he stops you.
Okay.
Next high point, clip in.
The low guy stops the high guy, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He's your belayer.
Okay.
So, everything's good. Easy route, blah, blah. I just make this, like, it's called a dyno, where you jump and go to grab, and I slip off, not thinking anything of it, and I hear a clip. You never hear a clip. And I was just,
wait. What the fuck does that mean?
Basically, my new high point came unclipped.
So you thought this point you had attached to was going to catch.
Yep.
And it did not catch.
When I fell by it, luckily, 100 days snowboarding kind of gives you a lot of air awareness.
Okay.
So you kind of feel kind of comfortable.
100 days per year snowboarding.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I fell by and a lot of climbing, that sound didn't sound right. So as soon as I heard that click, luckily, I have no idea why, I just knew shit was about to get real. Okay. So all I did, it's called clocking off the wall, where you fall and you go this way. Instead, I turned around and started putting all my small bones down towards the ground, because you don't want your neck, your back, any of that stuff to touch first. So I just started grabbing towards the ground.
Basically, Chris knows he's going to hit something
from 35 feet up.
He's trying to make sure his small bones hit first to absorb the impact, so his spine doesn't get like severed.
Yeah. The most catastrophic version of a shock absorber ever, but it'll save your life. A lot of people think they'll just land on their feet, but at 35 feet, you could die that way just as easily. You can shove femurs up into your.
We're talking 3.5 stories. So whatever office building you work in,
look up there and count 3.5 stories.
It's a huge fall.
And I landed on a flat rock in front of all my friends.
Okay, so wait, take us through this. Like, you're falling 3.5 stories.
1 second is all it took.
So what's going through your head? Like, you're falling.
Oh, shit, here we go.
Take us through this.
Oh shit, here we go. That's all I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you make contact. What happens?
Left hand, left palm, left ball of my feet, of my left foot. Pretty splayed out. I wasn't really crumpled up. So that hit, and then my left pelvic disc hit at an angle, and as soon as all that crumpled, I remember my right hand whipping around and smacking right here onto the ground.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. And what happened was it broke both of these bones. It took my
both the bones in your
my
left forearm,
ulna and radius, both broke pretty cleanly.
Okay.
My calcaneal, your heel bone.
Okay.
It's the thickest cross section of any bone in your body, even your pelvis.
Wow. Okay.
Snapped completely in half from the heel down.
Okay.
And then my pelvis cracked. It looks like a snowflake convention. It was just completely shattered everywhere.
Like a bunch of snowflakes at a business convention.
I quit
having scotches.
I quit counting the breaks. I'd say if every intersection, in between every intersection is a break, there was 30 or 40 cracks in my.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So
and then I ripped when this whipped around, I couldn't feel my hand anymore. It's because it ripped. Every hand joint has a bone that's attached to a tendon at your wrist. Okay. There's actually 8.
Okay.
It ripped the tendon off of every floating bone on my wrist.
Woo.
So was there like an immediate sense of pain?
No. It was an immediate sense of concern for my onlookers. There were people that never climbed before there.
Oh.
And I knew my cousin wouldn't even watch like bad snowboarding videos.
Oh.
So what happened is I stood up on my good foot and I could see my bad foot like completely flopping out sort of my climbing shoe. And then this looked like I had a Frankenstein hand. It looked like my wrist was here. So I stand up on my good foot and I realized shit is not good. I'd never knocked out. I was completely conscious. I just looked at all these people. And all I remember was I was on a half one-legged squat. And I was like, am I okay? And they're like, no, you're not okay. And I just asked, did I bounce? It was as a joke. I was like, did I bounce? I started laughing. They're like, this is not funny. You need to lay back down.
So you fell 3.5 stories and you're just like, did I bounce?
Yeah. I was curious. So No, that happened. And I went to the hospital, and then I finished up my convalesce at a VA old folks home.
How long?
I was hanging drywall in a month.
So 30 days, you're back. You said you want to go back to work. So
I was taking my cousin's drywall because he didn't know how to do it. I went to his house, and it was bad. I'm like, take my crutches.
Okay, so you were in this old folks home for like 30 days?
No, one week at the trauma unit.
Okay,
off and post-op.
So you're basically in the trauma unit for a week.
2 weeks at the VA.
Okay.
1 week at my cousins because everybody else had to work. I'm from a Hardy bunch. I actually, my brother and my roommate moved out in the interim, and within a month and a half, I moved out all my own shit in my own house.
Okay.
I drove myself around. I would like throw my wheelchair. All the feet things were off because that was fine. So I just kicked myself around with one foot, and I just basically unlock my Durango, pop the trunk, hop around, throw the wheelchair in the back, hop back around, jump in there, and just take off.
Okay.
I didn't get a lot of help. I didn't want it. Somebody was threatening to tell my grandma.
You were like the guy, the disabled guy who's like, I can do it myself.
Oh yeah, no, no, yeah. Everybody,
I'm not a cripple, damn you.
My stepdad had just had a stroke like a year before. My mom went through enough shit. And I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, I got this.
Okay.
So that happened, and then I started cycling because my cousin Billy Wagner again was cycling, and I did that, and then I went back snowboarding the next year. Realized I had some bad heel flexibility issues, and decided, you know what, I needed to do something that's going to give me full flexibility back. So I had some friends who were pouring concrete, and just by exposure, I realized that's really good for wrist and ankle flexibility. So I started pouring concrete just to get myself better.
You started your own concrete pouring company
a year after.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Started off as a scrub, turned into a foreman, co-owned it with Greg Jordan, another badass, and then freaking the economy went to shit for building. I'm great with economies, by the way. Electronics gone, building gone.
Okay, so Chris, I feel like we've skipped over the fighting gangbanger stories.
Okay.
Let's get into this shit.
No, we haven't. We have not.
This chronologically happened after all this shit?
No, during. Okay, this is right when I started pouring concrete.
Okay, let's have it. Let's have it.
Okay,
We've been working towards this all night.
Boise is an island of non-gangbanger activity, okay? It has to do with the Ada Canyon County border. It's a little worse now, but you seriously never had a problem with uber violence in Ada County in Boise.
Okay.
It's a little worse now.
So no Clockwork Orange.
No ultra violence, no. Okay. When you get past that border, then you hit Nampa, Caldwell, Notice, Parma. I'm from Parma. So it's basically a 45-mile corridor, 30-mile corridor of bad news. There's a lot of illicit drug activity. There's a lot of clubs that like to sell things and shoot people. And unlike a lot of heavily urban areas, they bleed into every bar and locale you could ever possibly think of. So certain points in time, we've had to take a couple guns off of certain people and do okay. But I've never been shot. I've been shot at. I've never been shot at.
Okay,
tell us a specific story.
I've never been shot is not a good description of this period of your life.
Yeah, no, never been shot. I've been shot at. Yeah. Are you talking about the one where my buddy Stuart?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear the lowdown on this.
Okay. Cool.
I've never been shot, but I've been shot at. Doesn't really like give us precise description here.
And rarely shot at. Okay. Okay. So
I've been rarely shot at.
Yeah. Okay. So okay.
Let's have it.
All right. So first of all, big shout out to freaking Stuart and John, cousins. Those are the reason they're the reason we got out of there safely. So we're at a bar in a town called Caldwell, which is actually used to be an old college bar where my sister's presently going. College of Idaho, Caldwell, Idaho. So it's called the Dutch Goose at the time. May still be called the Dutch Goose.
The Dutch Goose.
Yeah, which is actually an offshoot of a Dutch Goose in Boise, which is actually a hipster bar, which is funny because the Dutch Goose Caldwell, not a hipster bar.
This is like a Boss Rutan story.
Basically,
like what you told us so far is like, I'm going to the Dutch Goose.
Oh, yeah, Dutch Goose, yeah.
Okay.
Now, it would be a little bold to say we own that place, but we've been going there since before we were 21. Okay, it's a bar that's always been, well, like most rural bars, the after work crowd and the 10 to 2 in the morning crowd,
Entirely different.
Yep. Every bar.
There is overlap here, though. So that's kind of changed, but definitely overlap here, and that's where this problem started. Okay. So I meet my buddy Stewie there, his cousin John's there. These guys are both massive. You guys are both definitely, we're talking like elite athletes, Stewie, former Marine, not taking shit from anybody. But no, we're not assholes either. We're not like trying to like really cause problems.
Not looking for a fight.
No, but never gonna back down from one that's winnable either.
Yeah.
So another friend of Stewie and John's is way over the top hammered, and he's hitting on this gangbanger's girlfriend. Everything has exceeded any kind of like trying to talk him
Stewie out of it.
Or no, like we can't back out of this. He's like, okay, my buddy. This is what I remember. Not really the best memory on this night, but hey, my buddy has got this gangbanger pissed off. He's like, been hitting on his girlfriend. He's been notified, but for some reason he's hell-bent on going and saying.
He's already shaft deep on this.
He's I don't think he's getting anything out of it, but he's been kind of white guy disrespected to the point to where he's going to go and do and say one more thing. We've begged him not to do anything more with the situation. I mean, these guys don't look scary, but they don't look unscary. So don't.
Yeah.
But my buddy Stewie's like, he's going to go do it. He's totally going to go do it. He's like, so here's the plan. He's like, he's going to probably go talk to her and he's going to do something. And we got to make sure that either we take care of him or his friends, blah, blah, blah. So dude walks over. It doesn't take more than half a second. Kid jumps up, blasts somebody in the upper lip like I've never seen anything in my life.
Wait, who blasts who?
Bad guy.
Okay.
So, but we're already ready. I don't even know why these guys didn't even realize what we were doing, but like I think it's because that the guy that was causing the problem wasn't really hanging around with us very much at the time. Okay. But we were able to kind of create like a little strike zone. So the kid jumps up.
So no matter what, you guys are gonna get sucked into this problem just because this kid's not part of the gangbanger crew.
No, he's a friend of a friend, and he's gonna piss off a gangbanger one more time than he should have.
And you guys don't really have any control over this.
No,
you're just gonna get sucked in this problem whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah, I was like, why don't we just freaking walk his ass out of here and take him home? And he's like, no, man, he's gonna do what he's gonna do, man. He's like, fucking, would you want me to do that? I'm like, no.
So you see this problem coming, and you don't really have any control over it. You're just like, here comes a problem.
So my buddy
deal with the best we can.
So my buddy Stewie has this idea to mitigate the circumstances. He's like, basically, here's what we're gonna do. He's like, he's gonna go do something stupid. That guy's gonna kick the shit out of him. Here's the problem. There might be guns. There might be knives. There might be friends. So whatever happens, the first freaking instigator, one of us hits him high, one of them hits him low. We're gonna freaking take care of it. So he basically jumps up, hits the guy, and who
hits who here?
Bad guy. This is all bad guys.
Bad guy hits the guy who's like gonna go talk to this girl.
We don't start anything. We just finish it. That's basically the way that works. Everywhere, all the time we've ever done anything. I've never started a fight in my life. Okay. So
you know a problem's coming.
Yeah. So basically, Stewie and I are just waiting for this kid, the bad guy, to hit our dumb friend because he's continuing to be an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to talk to this girl.
I think he was
it's going to be a problem.
I think it was more of like a drop the microphone moment. I think he was going to come over and like say something to him and her and leave. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't persistence. It was like his last,
And you guys just know the shit's coming.
Yeah.
You're like, it's coming.
I'm going
to
say one more thing. It's like, dude, you've already freaking dodged like 8 bullets. It's like, freaking no. He's like, no, you got one more thing to say. All right, fine. It's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. It's like, this guy's, homeboy's going to get his ass knocked out now by this guy. So basically, obviously, gangbanger guy jumps up, just cracks this guy. And all I remember is pushing him back towards Stewie.
Okay.
And then the guy kind of folds over. Well, what it was, Stewie knew he had a Glock in the front of his pants.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just never told anybody. So Stewie reaches around, and Stewie's a beast. So he reaches around, he grabs the gun, well, it bends him over, and I'm there, and I just jump into a freaking guillotine on him. That's all I do. Just anybody can do one of those if nobody's what they're doing.
Right. Okay.
So I just guillotine the guy, and I'm just holding him fast, and then suddenly I get knocked on my freaking ear, and then when I'm looking, Stewie'd already thrown the gun out the door, and then John.
So you're on your back at this point on a guillotine.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And basically, I'm probably in half. I'm definitely not in close guard.
Okay.
But it's enough. I probably got one ankle hooked. I'm just holding on to the guy. Bad guillotine. Good enough at the time, though.
Okay, fair enough.
And then next thing you know, I'm back on my feet, and he's out the door, and then Stewie and John.
Wait, who's at the door?
The kid.
The bad guy?
Bad guy.
Okay.
Bad guy's out the door.
Right.
Bad guy's out the door.
Where's the gun?
Out in the street.
Okay, because your buddy grabbed it, threw it out in the street.
Yep.
Okay.
But he has friends, right?
Right.
At this point, me and Stewie are just the whole bar full of friends and family and non-friends just grab the wall. And then me and Stewie and John are just grabbing bad guys and just freaking throttle them. Like, we definitely,
going to town.
Yeah, and the whole idea a lot of time is like, it's a guerrilla tactics. Nobody's really willing to do whatever. Yeah. I'm the smallest guy of this group, by the way. Most of my friends. It's like SLGC. Not a lot of small guys rolling around.
Right.
So
okay.
It wasn't really once they realized who the good guys were, they were out of there. But yeah, that was a close one. I don't know. I've had half dozen guns pulled on me at least.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the funnest one because I didn't feel bad at all, not even a little bit. But no, I've had one gun.
Because your buddy actually had to like grab this guy's gun out of his waistband and throw it out the door.
And they were I can't remember, but they were actual gangbangers, like legit. So there's that. But no, I've had like really, really drunk neighbors come over with guns. Really, my buddy owns a body shop. I've had guys come over with shotguns. I've had a few. You get used to it. You really do.
So fast forward, you come down to Salt Lake.
Yes, and that's another thing is every place I've ever lived, it's just overt violence. Most people are just frustrated because they live in shitty towns to escape it. And I've only had one gun problem here, which is good. But yeah, I'm a Salt Lake.
Wait, so what was your one gun? Wait,
wrong,
was it
wrong place, wrong time?
Okay, I'm talking about somebody else having a gun, or are you hunting a gun?
No, it was my buddy's body shop, and he had a drunk friend that wanted to off himself and showed up with a loaded shotgun. And so my buddy opened the door, saw the shotgun, slammed it. It's like, get ready. And he's like, so we got ourselves in because he's from Nampa too. And he's like, we got an Idaho problem. I'm like, what? And I was like, he's like, my buddy's outside with a shotgun. And I'm like, fuck.
He wants to shoot himself.
Didn't know at the time, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what happened?
I pulled my knife out. And
you're gonna like, motherfucker, you can't shoot yourself. I'm gonna cut you.
We stacked I pulled my knife out. We stacked the door with my buddy first because he ain't my friend. And so we stacked the door, and then he opened it, and then Danny ran out and grabbed the gun. It was that easy.
So wait, what did the knife do? The knife was like, don't come
the only thing, whatever the hell was going to happen. I don't know. I just had it.
You just pulled the knife. You're just like,
yeah. No,
I don't know. Maybe I'll stab him. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
if it came to that.
No, you can do some. You can
21-foot rule. 21-foot rule.
Everybody forgets. Everybody thinks that they do like the cool guy disarm shit, but you just put a hand on the gun and slash the forearm. I mean, that's really what you do. I mean, it's basically hand up and like that. So,
motherfucker, you can't shoot yourself. I'm gonna cut your wrist right now.
Plus, Danny was in front of me. I was like, I'm probably pretty good, and there's probably birdshot. So, like 100% guaranteed birdshot.
Okay, so how did this actually play out, though? What actually happened?
Danny took the gun from him. I freaking kicked the door closed behind me, and like I let Danny had the gun. I freaking kicked the door shut. Michelle was in the back room still.
Okay.
Danny freaking talked it out. The guy started crying and freaking sent him on his way.
So you didn't have to cut this guy?
Nope.
Okay,
I've never had to cut anybody. No.
Okay, that's good. No. That's good. That's all good.
I'm not a bad guy. It's just like put a bad situation.
There's no cutting. There's no cutting going on here.
Yeah. No. So that was a brief encounter. Most of the time, I mean, I don't know. I've been in a lot of bad situations where it doesn't really bother me. The problem is that puts me in those situations longer than I should be, and then things can go really south really fast.
You just want to like get out of those situations when this crazy shit happens. You don't want to like hang out there, right?
Usually it's my party, or not my party, but it's like, I'm part of the inner circle. I'm not going anywhere. That's usually the problem. I mean, that's generally the problem.
Dude,
yeah.
let's
I'm very territorial.
Let's change gears. So I'm just looking at the time. Let's change gears here real quick. Let's do a little like gym visit.
Grappling.
Like Anthony Bourdain shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know in last year you went down to Santa Fe.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you visited
Santa Fe. Yep.
Tate Fletcher's gym.
Yep.
Just give these guys a little Anthony Bourdain on what went down there.
Okay, so quick grappling backstory. Got kind of the reason I used to hang at my buddy's body shop is I was really big on motorcycle restoration. Going back to that, I love late 60s, early 70s Honda 450 twins. I got a few.
Very cool.
So that kind of I almost fully restored a bike, and then a compression problem came up that made me really mad, and I was like, I'm done with this shit for a while. So I grounded my motorcycles for like 2 years and decided I'm gonna just get back into like the grappling that I should have been doing a long time ago.
Okay.
So I got a grappling academy, traditional grappling academy, which will go unnamed, but it was good. It was good because I was able to do no-gi and train with people I wanted to train with as long as I knew the schedule. There's some people, no thank you. Yeah. So it was good.
Shane Brenner.
Shane Brenner.
We love you.
You changed my life, dude. All right. So I got it wasn't a separated shoulder. It's called was it AC sublimation or whatever? It's where it like separates and reattaches. I messed my shoulder up pretty good. I had a couple rib injuries. I had some time off, and my wife decided to change career paths, so the money went away. Okay. And so I was like, good time to heal, good time to research. So I was doing a lot of mechanics, and as Pat has seen, a lot of woodworking. I've converted the back of my house into a pretty legit shop.
I've got some beautiful. Chris made some very, very beautiful wine carriers over there. I can hold now six 750s of wine over there, very beautifully.
And display them.
Chris.
Yeah,
very nice. Yep. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I luckily I had a job at the time that gave me a lot of free time to like research. I was really looking at grappling and or wrestling academies or clubs in Salt Lake. Okay. And so I found the Whiskey and Chokes. Well, my wife's craft shop.
This podcast.
This is actually probably I've told the rest of the stories 100 times, but this is the story I've only told a couple times. So my wife's craft shop is like adjacent to my workshop. And so her dad gave me an old school 90s stereo system that would pretty much transmit to Mars. So she heard a lot of my podcasts without me knowing. So I'm listening to Whiskey and Chokes, and this was Ty Volume 1.
The very first Ty Watkins podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think anything of it. And then I don't know if it was that evening or the next day, she's like, well, I need a new hairstylist. And was it before I went that first time?
I think it was after. Yeah, it was after.
Yeah, it was in between when you came the first time and you.
Yeah, I still remember that day. The first time you came to us, let's just see.
Yeah, so I came in and because the first time it was just me and Pat.
Yeah.
So Pat's like, show me what you got. And I'm like, blah, blah.
I remember Pat talking about that. I remember that.
Yeah. But I was still hurt. It was still like, I went the next day. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. So podcast. And then Michelle rolls into Ty's salon and just starts dropping science on him that freaks him out. It's like, he knows way too much about Ty.
Science about Ty. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So then, Ty brings it back to you guys, and that kind of ups the ante with me.
I remember that.
I was like, man, I was like, that's a lot of fucking game to start spitting to fucking not show back up. So I wanted to anyway, but I really didn't want to go in to where my other place where I was training for 2 days and then re-injured. So I needed to be better. So I finally got a little bit better and then went in was it like probably 14 months ago? Ish?
Yeah. About then. So basically, Chris had trained at another gym in Salt Lake, a gym that
not completely traditional. There's no gi time.
Yeah,
I mean,
a gym that we know well, and some of our friends have trained at, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So then you came up to our place, and then
stolen.
Well, Ty done your girl's hair.
Well, there was another reason. There was some bow hunting podcasts that definitely put me on the right track. It's like basically, although I can't wear a beard for my new job, there's beards, there's bow hunting, and there's booze.
Yeah.
Okay. There's the three things that really work for that club.
Yeah.
And then hillbilly would be, I guess, would be the but no, I mean, it definitely, I grew up wrestling like pre-junior high, but the emphasis on takedowns, the emphasis on actual skills in controlling parts of the body that have they're not even gi based at all. Like I encourage anybody to learn 100%, stuff like that. Just really good stuff that you can integrate into your grappling system that people don't, and no hating on Eddie Bravo, some stuff he's definitely got the key to, and he just ditches and moves on like 100%. He doesn't talk about 100%. I don't think 100% is crazy,
Yeah,
but they don't have enough time in the day,
Yeah, exactly. There's not enough time in the day. There's like so many moves in the 10th planet system that, I mean, it's just like anything in grappling. You spend time on certain like parts of your game, and there's only so much time. And
I mean, Eddie's kind of taking on the mantle of like all of no-gi, because like when you talk about like no-gi, you've got a few guys, but by far the most organized association, the most clubs, all that kind of stuff. It's all Eddie. So he's like, in a way, he's like trying to represent his own style, which is 10th planet.
Well, he can only go certain directions at the same.
But at the same time, when you ask people like, "What about no-gi?" the first name they're going to bring up is 10th planet. And Eddie. So he's kind of like walking two different paths, like representing all of no-gi and representing 10th planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's two different things.
Yeah. And the thing is like, there's only so much there's not a lot of transitions. I mean, going back to the 100%, it's basically, you have a couple of positions, you have one way to do it, and you have pretty much two ways to finish it. So there's not a lot there's not a huge chain in the 100% either, So he likes long chain stuff.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, but that's why you should always be a 10th planet member and go through the old videos, because you can find really good stuff. And some people with their styles may never even put themselves in a position where they need it. But you guys know all that stuff, because anything that has to do with like any kind of really good Gable type offense, you guys got it.
Yeah, I know. Like, in the words of Mark Lehman, I know a little bit more than my students.
But you have a great accent. You guys know, combined, you guys can figure it out either on the spot or within a day.
Yeah.
That's a very nice compliment.
No,
that's a very nice compliment.
We've kind of always been able to.
Well, you guys have the perfect overlap. Like, you have a style, but you guys both know 66% of each other's style.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. That's a fair comment.
No, and that's a byproduct of having to teach ourselves for so many years.
You have to verbalize it. You guys have to communicate. You have to put words to it.
Yeah. And it's like you're saying, we're able to figure out most stuff pretty quick. But it's just, like I describe our style as, there's a lot of old no-gi stuff still there, remnants of like the old Subfighter days. There's a lot of
dirtbag.
There's a lot of 10th planet stuff. There's some stuff from like Saku's MMA fights, some Genki Sudo, like, style, Dean Lister, Riley Bodycomb. And we just kind of really try and like, Marcelo, just whatever is working.
Mm-hmm.
It's like whatever's working, we try and,
So Riley Bodycomb
figure out and
nobody talks about Riley.
Riley's
so freaking stupid.
God, Riley's got such good shit. This is actually a really good time to talk about something that's been like bugging me a lot lately. So just in the last like couple weeks, this has been bothering me for like a year, but just in the last couple of weeks, like there were a few threads on the Nibiru forum, and guys were like, basically like, hey, I noticed that everybody in like EVI and Metamoris, they're just like sitting down to guard. Is this so? Basically, the premise was like, is this okay? And I was like, you know what? Like thinking about it for myself as like an individual person, I was like, you know what? I don't think I ever want to be the guy who's like sitting down. And like the way I thought about it is I was like, okay, UFC 1 was a watershed moment for me, right? I was like, something's happened in martial arts, right? Like if we go back like several hundred years, like maybe there's a guy teaching Kung Fu in China back in the day, right? And he like just happened upon the perfect Kung Fu, which was like very analogous to modern kickboxing, right? And he was doing all the cool kickboxing stuff that actually works in real fights. But then, you know, one of his students was like, yeah, like the kickboxing shit, that's all good. But I really like the shit when you just do the push hand stuff. When you touch the back of your knuckles to the other guy's knuckles, and you guys just like keep that contact, and you just do wushu push hand shit like this.
Yeah,
push hands. We're doing push hands, right?
We're doing push hands.
This shit,
sticky hands,
and
right
like
here. Sticky hands.
Some student was like, the jabs, the hooks, the uppercuts. That shit's all cool, and I like the round kicks and all that shit. But what I'm really into is the push hands. And so that student is like, hey man, like this is a sport. This isn't like fucking fighting in the streets of Kowloon. Like let's just have a sport where we just do the push hand shit.
It's like pop music.
Yeah, and
this is the One Direction fighting.
Yeah, and so everybody's like, yo, bro, I don't want to get hit in the head by an overhand right. I just want to do push hands. And then pretty soon, like we've gone so far from what this original instructor did, which was like the real shit that wins fights. And now we're just doing push hands, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it is
like
100%.
I feel like it's happening because like I watched this.
It's retention. People don't like getting slammed to the ground.
I watched the Denny Prokopos Eddie Cummings fight, and like Eddie Cummings, I'm sure he's a badass motherfucker. Like I feel like he's a badass motherfucker, but he came out and he just like sat down in front of Denny, and I was like, man, are we doing the Kung Fu where your first move is fucking sit down? Are we doing sitting down Kung Fu now?
Here is
like, what the fuck happened?
Here's the only time I'll ever say something bad about Marcelo Garcia. Okay, MG in action.
Okay,
right? When he's you know flowing or rolling with the elites, right?
Okay,
he pulls sitting guard, sitting butterfly, something all the time. You know why? Because he's not a competitive. He's not Marcelo in competition and Marcelo in his house. Two different things.
Fair enough.
Because that guy will never sit in a competition, gi or no gi. That guy he's kind of a takedown guy. He's definitely
back in the day he would.
Yeah. No, he doesn't compete anymore.
But it's different now.
You'll never see any of the classic Marcelo videos where he's going to drop to his ass. But whenever he's playing with Eddie or anybody else, you know, anybody,
Jake Shields,
Askren,
any of these guys,
he'll work the head, he'll work some arm drags, and if it doesn't work out, he'll basically bail out, and sit on his ass. That's not Marcelo in competition, you know, and so he's kind of selling two different things. I think it's kind of a deficit to the takedown game,
dude. I mean,
from a takedown artist,
dude. There was a thread where a couple guys were complaining about this Eddie Cummings thing, and they were like, dude, I'm sure Eddie Cummings is a badass motherfucker. I really feel he is, but like he came out and he just sat down into like basically like just seated position.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, is that what it's come to? Now we're the guys who do the shit where the first move is sit down. I'm like, that's not what I signed up for in fucking the year 2000, right?
Dude, if more people that do cartwheel and rolling Kimura stuff, that's over with. I think it's something that's working now.
Dude, but I mean, like, I feel like in grappling, we have to like think about like
what if this guy sits on his ass?
Yeah, I mean, we have to think about like if we're talking about real fighting, then we we have to think like, okay, let's keep this shit real.
Yeah.
And guys are just gonna like TP you on the head if you sit down.
Yeah.
They're gonna stomp on your face.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
Oh
just
no.
stomping
You're talking
you.
about like street versions. Yeah.
Well,
No,
no,
I mean just fighting,
just
martial
how it
arts in
relates.
general.
Because the big thing is, so when me and Jack got into this, it was I think we've talked about this before. I'm almost sure we've talked about this before. It was like grappling and grappling for MMA were all the same.
Yeah.
And it was the same shit. There's no differentiation.
It was more closely related to actual combat than where now it's a separate sport.
Oh yeah.
And what you have with like this Denny Prokopos and Eddie Cummins match is guys are playing to the rules of the tournament.
Yeah. It's like we're not faulting Eddie Cummins. He's doing the best thing he possibly do under the rules.
Yeah, he's trying to win.
He's optimizing his performance under the rules.
Yeah, he's trying to
unless
win.
you're getting paid, don't go to those tournaments.
Well,
no. I mean, like,
no.
He's showing up to do the shit, and he's like, I'm gonna win under the rules. But the problem is the rules.
Yeah, it's becoming like the thing we harp on is like it's becoming less combat related.
Yeah,
dude, we went from let's have a fight, I'm gonna throw an overhand right, to the kung fu student being like, okay, but I'm not into the overhand right. I'm into push hands. So let's start with our knuckles facing each other. And Pat and I are gonna have a face off where our knuckles face each other. And we're gonna do push hands. Like we're doing fucking push hands now with all this like sitting down shit. It's not real.
One reason, right? People hate takedowns. They hate takedown drills.
Yeah, totally.
They're always like they always have excuses like it's too hard on the body.
Which it is not, by the way.
Yeah, it's like it's too rough, it's too dangerous, like blah 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 blah. Yeah. It's like, dude, like little kids do this for 10 years.
Yeah, hell.
Kids all over the Midwest and the Western US for the most part do this from like 8 to 18.
Yeah, shit. I mean, 2 out of the 3 guys here, Chris and I are both well past the age of 30. And we do takedowns every fucking time we have practice.
What hurts me the most is when somebody actually, if I got somebody with my hooks in at RNC and they freaking flip on me fast, rib cage to rib cage, that hurts worse than anything.
And that's not even takedown.
Nope, that's what I'm saying.
Shit.
Like I haven't gotten hurt on
or a quick side control.
I haven't gotten. I don't think in all my years in like 10 years of wrestling, like over 10 years of grappling, I've never gotten hurt on a takedown. I've gotten hurt on like dudes like passing on me, getting arm barred, like me trying to pass somebody, like stuff on the ground. But guys they always have these excuses as to why they don't do takedowns, and I understand why guys are doing it sitting down in tournaments because they just want to get on the ground and start racking up points, or their game is a guard game or some form of a guard game.
Totally get that.
Well, I get why they're doing it, but it's the same. It's the same problem that we keep coming to is the lack of relation to actual combat.
Yeah, it's like in the early 90s, like it was this huge revelation that like ground game like won fights. Like Hoist showed everybody that like fighting on the ground won fights, like the RNC wins fights, the armbar wins fights, triangle wins fights.
Heel hook.
And now we've got into shit where guys are like, fuck actual combat. I'm just trying to do like my version of sitting kung fu. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like originally we were talking about like what actually wins fights. Like we're talking about like reality of combat. Yeah. And now guys are like, fuck reality of combat. I'm just a
athlete.
I'm just doing a very specific sport, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's like we were talking about the truth in combat. Now we're talking about like, let's add 1 million rules to combat, and within this very narrow rule spectrum, I'm doing the right thing. Like that's not what I signed up for sure.
I would elevate the full contact Taekwondo fighter against rules conscientious.
It's the exact
grappling.
same thing. Like
they're better.
The difference between Muay Thai and Taekwondo is the same as the difference between like
submission grappling, Muay Thai,
UFC,
contact Taekwondo, and then the lower level of
grappling. It's exact same difference between UFC 1 grappling and the shit guys are doing now. It's like if you're sitting down and grappling a guy, you're doing like the equivalent of like Taekwondo striking. That's what you're doing, which is okay. That's cool, but I mean, that's not what we signed up for.
It doesn't. I mean, if everything is buffered to where you're getting in these freaking like vanilla situations, it totally doesn't make sense compared to when somebody completely bull rushes you and slams you in side control, and you got to freaking figure out how you can make this better or worse.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine if you develop this awesome guard game for when somebody gets on top of you, but it's like when your whole game revolves around I'm just gonna sit down when the guy's still standing.
It's not combat.
When the guy's still standing, because it's like anybody, if you're fighting somebody and you sit down on your ass,
they would kick your head right.
They're gonna kick you in the face. Yep. They're gonna kick you in the face.
That was a major style in my high school.
When you're by the way, and when you're stunned, they're gonna stomp on you.
Yep.
Yeah, and all the barambolos in the world aren't going to help that.
Yeah, it's not combat based.
Yeah, it's not combat based.
Yeah, which is fine. It's like, but you guys are doing like the you guys are you're turning yourselves into the taekwondo of ground fighting,
point fighting taekwondo, because full contact is still legit. I mean, those guys are still kind of crushing, But yeah, but I did taekwondo. I did point taekwondo for like 6 months. It's horseshit. It's absolutely. I mean, it's just whatever. But those guys that are swinging, it's a. I mean,
it's like awesome.
Yeah,
you can hit an axe kick. Yeah. You can hit a berimbolo, but
just the power kicks. I mean, I don't think you should take your entire life learning power taekwondo.
But it's not real fighting.
It's not. You better know something else. Yeah, but if you want to,
it's a slippery slope towards.
Oh, it's not worth my time for sure. But it's still got some effective. I mean, these guys are still swinging to the fences.
The same way kung fu is effective striking, right? Like I would. I mean, if Pat and I decide the rule is we have to have our hands like this, and then we're going like this, switching hands, right? Like
you should learn karate.
It's gonna become very beautiful, but it's not real fighting. No. Like Chuck Liddell is gonna.
I'm just trying to
knock me out if I'm doing that shit.
No, that's one thing that it's always kind of blown my mind is like I've always been open to takedowns, because I was more of a wrestler than anything else.
Yeah.
How some people within the club are not open to takedowns. It blows my mind.
With our club?
Yeah, there's some people who are like, Who? I'm not naming anybody.
No, name names. They're cool with it. Who do you think?
Nate Rice.
No, dude, no, he's gotten a lot better.
Okay,
no, but he's still
in the last couple months.
But he doesn't like doing the drills. He doesn't like shooting. He doesn't like he's still he's searching. Nate, I love you, but he's searching for the one takedown to where he never has to do it again. Anything else? In my opinion.
Fair enough.
I mean, there's no way I should have been able to hip chuck him.
No, some guys definitely.
Corey hates him. He's just hunting for. He's just hunting for.
Dude, today at noon, I saw Corey shoot 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I want everybody to shoot because I'm top headlock guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to sprawl. Yeah.
Guys are hesitant to do moves.
That's what pisses me off.
Don't necessarily work their body type. Yeah. It's everybody's looking for the magic bullet, or the magic pill to get this takedown where it's like. They get it immediately and they're able to utilize it immediately.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Takedowns are,
I love the freestyle double, man.
Yeah, super complicated. They require excellent timing and you have to do them correctly.
The ability to want to run somebody through. That's another.
It's like my big problem is
that's my problem. I don't want to freaking slams. I don't want to whatever. But once I give myself permission to really go through somebody, it totally changes the game.
You know who put it really eloquently? I thought was GSP's coach Zero Sahabi. He was like,
love his stuff.
First Sahabi. He was like, I don't understand. Grappling guys should love takedowns. Yeah. It's so technical and so cool. They should love it. And then I saw a bunch of threads on the underground and Sherdog, and it's like people were like, "Hey, do you guys like takedowns?" Basically, that was the premise thread. And guys were like, I just love guard work. Let's get to the ground. Let's just start in butterfly. Like, no shit. Guys were saying,
Guard?
let's just start in butterfly. Like, they don't give a fuck about actual fighting anymore. They're just like, I'm going to do this. It's a slippery slope towards, like, becoming sitting kung fu. That's what they're doing.
I don't expect, unless it's like, Pat, I don't expect to ever be anything worse than my guard if somebody successfully takes me down. Like that's the worst I want to be. Basically, I'm usually pretty good at sprawl, right?
Okay, wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
So I understand what you're saying. Where it's like
a lot of people expect to get throttled if they lose a takedown.
If you're just sitting there waiting and you're like, okay, I know we're gonna get taken down.
Yeah.
So
like you can work your will on me.
As the guy's taking me down, I'm just gonna pull guard.
Yeah.
Because I'm a guard player. Like, it's a lot of times for the dude doing the taking down, for shooting the shot or whatever. For a lot of takedown techniques, it's hard to avoid going into the guy's guard.
Yeah, you should be shucking for side control.
If that's where he's waiting.
Right.
So it's like there are ways to, power past it and everything.
Because I'm sprawl half full. That's my half second.
I've definitely spent a lot of time like working a specific takedown on a guy, and I'll finally hit the takedown.
Finally get the side.
No, get the guy down, and he just pulls guard.
Right.
And there's like nothing I can do to stop it because he's just waiting. Like he knows I'm going to take him down, and he's just waiting to pull guard. So it's like,
But I'm not. I'm waiting for the sprawl. I'm actually trying to attack, and I'm waiting for the sprawl. Because top headlock I'm pretty good with, but the one thing I always try to do is keep a shin shield in, keep a knee in, whatever, half. So if I'm in guard, I've failed. But if I'm in side, if somebody gets me in side control, it's a shit show. Like I don't even
super fail, right?
Super fail. Like I actually have to get over it. Like I need to stop being a bitch about, oh fuck, I'm in side control, and do something about it.
And replace.
And replace. And I used to not. I used to be like, oh crap, and let them settle their weight. As opposed to there's a brief moment where you can get that knee back in.
The transition.
Yeah. Yep. Because nothing is settled yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. If like we're trying to get takedowns, you should be like, this motherfucker just took me down a side control. Like I fucked up.
Yeah.
For one millionth of a second, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I fucked up. Replace now.
Exactly. Because I didn't get the head chuck. I didn't get the top. And then all of a sudden, my half guard, because I'm really trying to focus on keeping a butterfly in. And if that doesn't work, I mean, when it gets down to this, I mean, people that don't practice takedowns, they don't have that in their freaking mind.
Dude, they don't give a fuck. Like these
guys, their legs are up, like a prom date. It's like
online on the neighborhood forums, these guys are like, I don't give a fuck. Let's just start in butterfly let's start our matches in butterfly. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? We have fucked up. You guys, like, we've become the let's start on our asses kung fu.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of our drills have stuffing that butterfly as a pretty good offensive target. So like I'm getting really good at stuffing a foot. Your trick where you reach underneath.
I mean, but when does we're talking about martial arts, right? Like martial, we're talking about Mars, God of War.
The opposite of art. It's the martial part, not the art part.
Mars, war, the God of War. When is it ever a good idea in war to sit down on your ass? Like, we're becoming everything we hated in the era of UFC 1. Like, in the early 90s, they were like, man, you guys are fucking up. Like, all this kung fu, karate, ninja shit. Yeah. This doesn't work.
One boxing glove.
Yeah, Art Emerson. Like, this shit doesn't work. And now we've gone 360. Now we're back. We're like, hey, motherfuckers are like, let's start in butterfly guard.
Because we're all monkeys one step out of the cave, and we're all looking for mysticism all the time. It's all about mysticism.
It's like, I'm going to start in butterfly guard, and I'm going to say oos every time my sensei gives me direction.
I'm going to bow in.
But I got a fucking belt with 4 stripes.
I'm going to bow into the mat. I'm going to say oos, and I'm going to pay belt testing fees on top of my exorbitant monthly rate.
Also, I never told you.
I'm going to pay $90 for my belt testing, my stripe testing fee.
So when I went to 10th Planet Santa Fe, that was I kind of missed that part. So I've been going to SLGC for it was a few months because it was spring and I'd been going there since winter. And my wife graduated from Albuquerque, and huge 10th plant head. You know,
Okay.
not necessarily Ronin because I don't have the freaking pictures on the podium, but I consider myself a Ronin.
No, you're a Ronin, man.
Yeah,
if you're like following 10th Planet, you're a Ronin.
Well, a legit Ronin's supposed to have like what 3 podiums with freaking, you know, like the
Fuck
10,
that, dude.
yeah.
Who said that? Who said that?
That's an old Ronin status on the Nibiru.
No, dude, that was started
Whatever,
by
Yeah.
Ari Bolin. Ari Bolin laid that shit out.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
I've had
yeah.
Dude, I'm more Ronin. I'm more Ronin than half 10P heads.
I've had Grayson claim my Ronin status on the Nibiru forum for me.
Dude, I've been to 10P. So what it was we went to Albuquerque for 3 days, and I was like, "You've never met my best friend," and blah blah blah. And we're staying at their house. I'm like, I don't care. I was like, it's an hour away from Santa Fe, and I'll be goddamned if I'm not going to freaking go and train at 10th Planet Santa Fe. Number 1, Tate Fletcher, big fan. Saw him at the UFC tournament for
the same
Quest.
divisions as him.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You've been on the podium with Tate
Yeah.
Fletcher before.
Tate.
Okay.
Tate Fletcher said he enjoyed watching me grapple.
I like Tate.
There you go.
Boom.
Okay.
He was one of the final heavies in the Equalizer. He's got the little
Yeah.
hard to miss. He was also in Breaking Bad. So no, so Tate wasn't there, but the gym owners are there, and then another Moonhead. And 10th Planet Santa Fe is an interesting place. It's
says MMA like oriented.
it's CrossFit MMA. So first of all, you got to go through the barrio. It's not East LA, but it's pretty gnarly. You go through there. I know this by experience, but it's not bad. I mean, it was like I was scared. But you go in there, sign your waivers. There's your standard CrossFit, punching bags, pull-up bars, blah, blah. But they have like a little locker room and this and that. But over in the corner is half of an octagon, and that's all that it's about. It is basically half those guys are like pro or want to be pro fighters. Awesome guys. I go in, talk to the guy that's running the class, get down to the drills. I'm glad I showed up a little late because I didn't have to do like cartwheels or anything. No warm-ups.
So you didn't do the mandatory 10th Planet warm-ups.
I missed the cartwheel part. I didn't miss the drills.
Okay.
Problem. Butterfly drills. I'm good at butterfly sweep.
Okay.
I know if I have a butterfly in and I can trap that far arm, we're good.
What is that? What warm-up's that? Like warm-up G? I'm trying to remember.
You sit.
No one's good at butterfly sweeps.
I'm good at butterfly. Only if I can sneak a butterfly in. Only if it's in a scramble.
Anyways,
I hit more butterfly sweeps than anybody you know.
I know.
I'm shitty at it.
Yeah, I'm better than your average.
Fair enough.
Nobody at the club is good at it. That's why I'm good at. That's why I'm belly down arm bar butterfly ninja at the club because nobody else does it.
Fair enough.
Butterfly is really hard to hit.
You gotta hook the knee, trap the arm.
Dude, it's so hard to hit against guys that are savvy. Like
I'm not talking about savvy.
No.
They're not pressured.
No,
Yeah.
it's just like if a guy knows what he's doing on top, you can use butterfly. Like I'm able to use it on some decent guys.
If I can hook the knee and find
but
that other elbow, I'm good.
I can use it to I can maintain guard. But like I rolled with a guy about a month and a half ago who's like a dude who people have been saying is the best guy in Utah for years and years and years. Like I had him in my butterfly guard.
Double?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
And like
Are you just keeping him in double unders or?
No, I had like over unders. I had collar tie.
Oh, so you were just full. But you were mixing it
I had
up.
him in, I was transitioning, and he was trying to pass. Like I could keep him in my butterfly guard, but I couldn't sweep him, which is like
he was checking.
Yeah, he was just like savvy to it.
Yeah,
and like I'm pretty good at butterfly sweeps. Like as far as I think I utilize it more than anybody I know personally.
Yeah, for sure.
I try to use it once a week. I haven't been training for 3 weeks, by the way. It's killing me. Killing me. But yeah, no, I just try to use it when somebody's trying to get froggy with a foot in.
What were your results?
I couldn't sweep the guy. I could keep him in it. I couldn't sweep him. what happened with the rest of the roll is neither here nor there. It was favorable to me though.
This wasn't recently, right?
It was in December. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I heard that.
Yeah.
No,
I've got video evidence, motherfuckers.
Video.
I've got video evidence of what happened in that role. So if anybody tells me how good this guy is, I can show them this video.
Yeah. Well, they
he's cool though. I like him.
No,
I like
awesome
this guy.
Awesome
No.
guy.
Super cool guy.
Yeah.
And his buddy. I can't remember his buddy's name. Cool.
I've never met an elite fighter that's a dick ever. I know you have. You guys been around.
Yeah.
There were a couple.
Well,
guys.
this is kind of the new. This is the new hotness. The elite fighters that are dicks, I think, are a little obvious. They know and they stay away. You know
okay,
what I mean? Yeah.
fair enough.
Because you have Glover and guys that are so awesome. How are you going to compete with that?
Jeff Glover's.
I love Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, the majority, definitely like 90% of the pro, like UFC guys, or like basically
super high level pro grapplers.
Yeah,
they're cool guys.
Yeah, like 90% of them are awesome. Dude, man, we're heading on like 3 hours.
Yeah,
almost.
we're running super late on this, so we're gonna get Chris back, and then we're gonna wrap it up right now.
Oh, yeah.
But I just want to say, Aaron Gustavson, #1 fan of SLGC or the Whiskey and Chokes podcast.
Let me tell you what, Brandon Quick's pee-pee tastes so good. How dare you?
So we got another thing where we're talking about Brandon Quick last time, and like, dude, let me just tell you, none of us are a fan of Brandon Quick and what he did as far as possible misrepresentation of his credentials.
No, but he's turned out some very, very interesting techniques.
Yeah, that's what we were getting at. We're not saying this cat is like somebody to be admired or anything like that.
No,
but
I'm just saying, like, he's turned out some very, very interesting techniques that I use and I know work.
So what we're saying is, like, this guy publicized some techniques that were useful to us. We're not admiring the way he's conducted his life at all.
How dare you, Aaron Gustavson? You are our biggest fan.
But we love you, Aaron Gustavson. We love your ass. And I know you're gonna comment on this shit, so it's all right, man. We love you.
Normally role models. I mean, you can be an innovator and be a total picket.
And I mean, Brandon Quick, maybe he was not even an innovator, but he
invented something, right, for you guys. I mean,
well, no, he published some shit that was already going on in 10th Planet.
Like, he has videos like that have come out in the last couple of years that I've looked at, and I'm like, shit, this is actually really good stuff,
So,
do you ever think there's some bits of technique that
get
deceptive?
lost?
No, deceptive. Like,
but I mean,
put your hand here.
Aaron,
it's like you see him do the technique, and it's like, no, you're not doing that.
Aaron, hear me on this. Like, we're like, man, fuck any guy who lies about who he is and where he's been. Like, we're with you, man. We're with you on that. Don't worry, bro. We're with you.
We got to get Aaron Gustavson out here.
I think he's in the Emerald Triangle, right?
Yeah.
So, Aaron,
what we need to do is add him to the Google.
When you get him live on the
Google Live session with us, and they can talk to us on that, right?
So, Aaron, basically, like, what's probably going to happen is we're going to get you live on the Google Hangout Live thing. And then probably at some point in the next 5 years, we're going to make you jump on a Greyhound and come to Salt Lake. We're going to show you the weekend.
We'll pay the $20 ticket.
The weekend. We're going to show you the weekend of your life, motherfucker. You're going to have the best time ever. You're going to come out here.
Have sex with some fat chicks.
No. Super hot chicks. And you're going to love your weekend in Salt Lake. You're going to train at SLGC, Solid Grappling Club. But,
dude, I would love
man,
it.
We hear you. We hear you on the Brandon Quick thing. Like, we're not trying to be fans of any of Brandon Quick's deception of the public, any of that bullshit.
No.
Like, we hear on that, man. So,
cool. Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything
Chris
else? Is there anything else we didn't cover?
No.
Okay.
Well, we basically need to do a follow-up podcast with you to extend.
Dude, Chris, like, he gets off on so many tangents. It's like,
hey, I never. Hey, I've only done.
He's creating a tangent right now as he talks.
I've never done much more. 7 years is the longest I've ever.
He's a man of many lives.
I'm a Renaissance man. I'm a noble savage.
We're gonna cut him off. Kind of, noble sea savage.
Savage. Nice.
No. So, Aaron, don't crucify us on this one, man.
No,
but
10th Planet, much love, and SLGC. Seriously, I would not be where I'm at right now. That's it.
Okay, thanks, guys. We appreciate listening.
Shoot bows all the time, as much as you can.
Word. No bow talk. Word.
No bow talk.